Ready to go.
Hello, and welcome to the RWBY podcast. We are talking about Volume 5, Episode 6. You will know a bird by its song, and you will know a media by his choice of soda. I am just mediocrity.
Wait, that was a little too fast. Was that the Crystal Pepsi? Or was that
No,
it's
just default Pepsi. Hashtag not sponsored. But Pepsi, if you're watching this, I'm all about free stuff.
Yep.
Uh-oh, HP is talking. And technical difficulties, please stand by.
Oh, really? Shit.
Oh, there you
no,
go.
there you go.
There you go.
Okay. Well, it's me, High Powered. I'm back from my internet troubles, which I didn't really have any to begin with. I'm just going to say I did. And I look forward to talking about this episode and the second half of the RWBY arc.
And I'm really sick of cafe scenes. You know, if you're going to serve something and like play the pronoun game like you did with Crow Raven, you know, at least you can serve some sake. I'm sake card.
God, it's been a while since I've had sake.
And I am not dead. I am a memory. I am Robert. Kudos to anyone who knows what that's from.
All right, so
It was from The Punisher, which just came out.
Oh, okay. No,
I need to
get Netflix back. I need to see if Iron Fist is as bad as everyone says it is.
Prepared to be disappointed.
I haven't watched Netflix since Luke Cage was on, and I just kind of got bored with it halfway through.
Yeah, it got kind of slow during the middle of it, but I did enjoy Luke Cage.
Which for my money makes it like the most accurate comic to screen adaptation ever. Luke Cage always starts off his story strong, but then just kind of gets boring because you kind of find out that Luke Cage is kind of a boring character.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's great. He's great as a support character. Like, I kind of want to see what he's like in Defenders, but I heard that show's not the greatest either.
It's more interesting to see what his villains get up to in that one, in all honesty. Like, yeah, I won't spoil anything, but it is kind of more interesting to watch them and stuff like that. But yeah, Defenders is pretty good, and I don't know. I enjoyed The Punisher, so yeah.
Speaking of stuff that's good on Netflix, you should watch Mindhunters, and if you haven't watched Narcos.
Okay.
Welcome to the RWBY and Beyond podcast, where we get sidetracked more than Renegades React.
And then, the other thing too is I'm looking forward to watching The Punisher because I've got a flight and then a drive back from New Mexico to Texas, so I'll probably just watch the whole season on the way back home. And then that's a good way to do it. I'm probably gonna get triggered multiple times by the Punisher show. Because I'm going to be seeing these guns, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Why is the dust cover?
I heard it actually does a pretty good job.
Why is the dust cover still closed on the AR, whatever it's shooting? Thor Ragnarok.
Well, Thor is a freaking cartoon. Thor's a cartoon, so. And I love it. I love it so much.
Even though A2 patterned ARs are the most aesthetic and superior of all the ARs. So let's talk about what happened in this episode was it's actually in all honesty, this is actually a pretty concise episode. So we open up with Crow failing miserably at recruiting people, failing just as bad as Blake and Sun did last episode trying to get help.
No, not really failing as hard as them because, at least the people in Menagerie are alive.
This is true.
You can't find any of these people. They're either missing or dead, and kind of leaning towards dead. Yeah,
this is something that we will definitely talk about.
It goes to show a lot that Haven's not prepared. There's nothing for Haven.
Yeah. Even less prepared than Vale was, it seems like.
Yeah. So Crow tries to go around. He's literally walking around in the slums trying to get people to help out. He fails miserably to do so. There's a few good little character moments. You got a little comedy moments in there too, showing Crow's frustration. We literally see the Fight Club going on there with the chalkboard and the win and losses on there. I'm curious what the betting is like on that too. Also,
welcome to the Deadpool.
Crow runs into Ty 2.0, and then whenever I saw I'll be honest, whenever he walked up to that house and knocked on the door, there's a part of me that was like, please be Winter. Please be Winter. Please be Winter. Like he opens up
You're
the
not
door.
alone.
There's just he's opening up the door, and then there's just a whole bunch of like computers and stuff. There's just like an Atlas listening post, and Winter's standing there in like with dyed hair and like in like civilian clothes, and it's like what? Hey.
Yeah.
And but instead we get instead we get Tide 2.0, and then my mind immediately switched to Hello Darkness, my old friend.
Darkness, my old friend.
And then it then cuts to it actually is kind of a little touching moment where he goes back to the restaurant and pays off that guy's tab.
Yeah.
And then the owner
is just like, why didn't you dodge Shiro?
And so even the owner is sad too that like that guy's potentially not coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was
yeah,
by the way, that guy was also voiced by Nick Landis, so yeah. Nice work.
This is where all the money's going. It's those
man of many voices. Hey, if you can get all those voices from one guy, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And then cuts to Raven's tea time talk with Yang and Weiss. I like the talk, but my problem was like I was hyping up this talk so much that there's no universe or timeline that exists out there where like we would have gotten it. Like they literally could have spent like the entire episode could have been like that talk, and then Raven being like, "Here you go," and just tosses them through the portal, and it still would have been enough.
I don't know. For me, that it's just like it was like it felt tense, but at the same time there was nothing. It was
yeah.
It's just like, oh, Yang and Weiss are finally getting the information, but they're getting it in like vague hints and like little tiny bits of bait to like make them stay.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're walking the line between like an actual like actual drama and just kind of like not. It's just nothing really happened.
Vague. It's kind of the
I don't know about unnecessarily vague. I have a lot of thoughts on this that I'll get into when we get deeper.
Yeah, we'll pick apart the conversation.
Yeah, maybe there's a reason they haven't told us yet, but right now it's feeling a lot like the like Cinder's plans back in Volume 2 and stuff like that, just incredibly vague and stuff like that on what was going on, when a little more information would have honestly like helped us to understand what's going on a lot better. And honestly, it would have made Cinder's plan feel a lot more like clever and interesting than it ultimately came off as. So
yeah, it was just like, oh, you did all this, we didn't see you do anything. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens like in the future.
No, but yeah, I was kind of disappointed, but at the same time, it was still kind of good. Like, I'm torn on the issue, honestly.
Vernal has a really cool weapon. I will say
we
that.
We don't know what the fuck that thing is.
It looks so dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a
It's my thing. It's my, your thing. Yes, it's my thing.
Like, if you've seen like in Kingdom Hearts 2 and stuff like that, there's a character who has like a weapon kind of like that and stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a really weird looking weapon.
You know the reason why I never play Kingdom Hearts, even though that's like a type of game that I would enjoy?
What?
Keyblade.
Hey, Keyblades are awesome, alright?
Nope, couldn't do it. Can't do it. Nope. Mm-mm.
I thought, well, the thing that always kept me away from it is because half of it is Final Fantasy.
See, you're just a...
Yeah.
Media, I just want to reach sometimes, just strangle you.
Final Fantasy is garbage.
You watch your mouth. Alright, I will not stand for that. I'm sitting down right now, but that doesn't change the fact.
And then basically that's it for the Raven talk.
And Yang makes her decision, and it goes back to Crow as it finally happens. Yang and Weiss ride together.
Yeah.
You said it was a ship. It was a bike.
And
you guys.
And RWBY is reunited with all of her friends.
Exactly. Exactly.
All of her friends.
What about Blake? All of her
friends. Instead of like a Krillin kill count, it's like a Blake burn count.
And it's a
One of these days, I am gonna have like just way too much
No, it
time on my
needs to
hands.
be-
Like so,
Make
sometime
like
in the
a-
summer, I'm gonna have way too much time on my hands, and I'm gonna go through every video I've ever made and make a compilation of all the times I've dissed on Blake.
Yeah.
And just have Blake's sifted litter box or something like that.
To be fair, I am starting
kitty
to
box.
warm up to Blake again. I like slowly, but I think I am starting to kind of warm up to her.
I still have as I said, like at the beginning of the season, like I still have high hopes, but right now they're not giving me a whole lot.
Yeah,
there's a minute.
I'm having to sit here and deal with like dude and media and everyone else just tearing the episode apart. I'm like, well, you're not wrong, but I mean,
I mean, I like Blake too, and it hurts. I want like end of volume 4 Blake back. Where did she go?
Well, not even end of volume. There was like only a few minutes there.
I like volume
episode
2, Blake.
like episode 8 and episode 11, where she was kind of good again.
I don't know. I thought volume 1, like end of volume 1, Blake was pretty okay and stuff like that. Like I was saying earlier, that I feel like, you know, back then when she was, I don't know, when it felt like she had less of a black and white view of the world and stuff like that, like she was actually a lot more interesting than now when
She went from grayscale to black and white in the span of what, 3 volumes?
Yeah, exactly. Where like anyone who disagrees with her is now the enemy and stuff like that, except Ilya. But yeah, so I think that, and so yeah, it's like she just feels out of character now. So yeah, I want volume 1 Blake back.
Nah, I feel I feel like these last couple Blake scenes have just proven what I thought from the very beginning of RWBY, and that's I've said it numerous times. She feigns depth. She's actually like very shallow.
Yeah,
it's just like it's like volume 1. You know, Blake's kind of like, okay, she's this mysterious kind of character, and then like the more you find out about her, like for some reason, it's like you just go from like, oh, so I gotta move my hair. It's like you go from like, oh, cool, and then like one word to categorize one word to categorize someone, you're just like, excuse me.
Well, I mean, structurally, the worst thing is that they try to portray her as the mysterious one, and yet she's the first one whose backstory they get into.
Yeah.
Like that would be like if
they've gotten into the most. It seems like
that would be like if in the X-Men animated series they just went right into Weapon X, like right off the bat, like not before the first season is over. They just went right into Wolverine's deal and all the Weapon X stuff.
Yeah, it'd be a little like, okay, well, this is a little edgy.
Especially since Wolverine kind of suffers from the same problem in that he's only cool when you don't have all the answers, and the more answers you get about him, the less interesting he gets. Like, Blake got way less interesting when we found out what her family is actually like.
I don't know. I thought
we liked her family. We liked her family a lot.
I feel like Wolverine gets pretty cool when you look at like, I don't know, when you really get into some of the things he's done, like his time in Japan and stuff like that. You find out he's a samurai, or that he.
Well, that was just a good one-off story.
Yeah,
Old Man Wolverine was good too, also.
Oh yeah, Old Man Logan. Oh,
and well, that wasn't even about his past. That was just about what he's like as a character. And the movie is actually better, in my opinion.
Freaking vape juice just spilled all over my goddamn vaporizer. The things I do, that's gross. This stuff is like bad. Yeah, like if they get this stuff spills on like clothes, like you just might as well just pitch the shirt at that point.
Yeah, like worst. Logan was a better movie than Old Man Wolverine was a comic book.
That's saying something.
Yeah. That's actually not saying. If you read the comic book line, it's actually not saying a lot.
but back to the Blake, stuff.
So
all of RWBY's friends.
Blake's not even in this episode, and we still found time to diss on her.
So here's something I just want to bring to mind to everyone's attention before we start like talking about the segments. So now, basically, the episodes could be either one of 3 things, and one of those 3 things could basically be broken further down into 2 parts. So we either will have Team Orange and Ranger shenanigans. Team RWBY and Orange shenanigans. we will also have Blake stuff going on, and then we'll have the bad guy segments. And the bad guy segments include Salem, Cinder's team, and then the White Fang Ilya. So basically, like the episodes are going to become more and more concise. I would assume the episodes will become more and more concise,
A little more
and be
focused.
a little bit more focused, and then they'll be
I don't think
easier to predict.
concise is the word. I think consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll be
Like
more-
we're gonna see the same characters every episode, like from now on.
until
which,
until like
which,
later on in the season when they all merge together as one.
Part of my
Someone's
yelling.
dying. Someone's
Yeah.
dying in the background.
Anyway, part of my to-do list tomorrow is to go back through our predictions podcast and find out where exactly I said that Team RWBY will reunite at the mid-season point. Because I know I
See
said
how
that a
right
couple
and
times.
or
Still
wrong
missed
we
that.
are.
Well, no, I know I said that a couple times. In fact, I think I even had it in the highlight reel, which will make it a lot easier if it is there.
Yeah, because we assumed that Yang and Weiss would get back together first.
Yeah.
Ruby.
I don't know if we assumed that in the predictions podcast. I don't think we were counting on
I
Weiss,
think a lot of
Weiss
people were
getting
predicting
shipwrecked.
on Yang and Ruby getting together first.
Well, I know I did say something. I know I said something about like Weiss and getting nabbed by the bandits in the Discord chat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's the real thing that I
I'll find out because I'm gonna put it in my review. I'm gonna put that segment in my review. Whatever I said, whenever I said it.
yeah.
So let's start with Crow's recruitment drive. So he basically fires up the LinkedIn for all the huntsmen in the area, and or I'll just say hunters for all the hunters in the area.
And
So he basically goes around everywhere trying to find someone, and goes to a restaurant, gets a knife thrown through the wall that almost kills him.
very racist restaurant, apparently.
Yeah, very.
And then goes to the Fight Club and isn't able to recruit anyone at the Fight Club because the Fight Club doesn't exist, even though they're keeping tracks of the statistics on a chalkboard, like somewhere over there.
We don't
And we
talk
get-
about it.
We get a little comedic moment of frustration. He then
I
talks
thought
to
that was really dumb. Just
I-
throwing that out there. It didn't feel like something Crow would actually do. It felt like in
That's
in like MMOs like DC Universe, World of Warcraft, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you have like these really dumb over the top emotes.
it
Feels
wasn't
like
a
someone. It felt like someone just plugged that into Crow's character model.
Slash face
Favorite
palm.
emote?
yeah.
Not even so much his face because his back is to the camera.
Yeah.
It's at like a 3/4 view or whatever you call that angle.
Yeah.
We run.
Also, I'm pretty sure it's just the same background painted on to each stuff and just different characters thrown in there.
I
So a
didn't
bunch of
even notice.
identical alleyways.
He talks to a lady that's a blacksmith, and she seems to be a little bit heavier set than all the other female characters that we've run into.
I really don't get the big deal about that. I don't get why a lot of people are talking about that. Like,
I didn't even notice that.
whoop-de-doo.
I just wanted to point it out because they're using a different template, so it means
Maybe
they,
Well,
Their
no,
way
the
of
thing is,
saying,
RWBY is
"There you
actually
go,
really good
get
about
off our
having different
backs."
templates for their female characters.
and then he runs into Ty 2.0, and then he
Press
goes
tie.
and then he goes back to
Which should have
The-
that
Triggered a Team Stark flashback.
that scene kind of got to me.
yeah, it
And
did.
Dogs barking.
Let the dogs out.
Ooh.
It should have triggered a Team Stark flashback.
Oh.
Mm.
It's just like
because
oh,
you know Crow is used to getting that response.
she's not coming back.
Yeah, that's how you can just be like, she's not coming back, is she? Yeah. I
Like
agree
that,
with that.
in my opinion, that's strike one. Like we've been wanting the Team Stark flashback for a long time. This was the first time though that I felt like they needed the Team Stark flashback was this episode,
This would've
and it would have
been
tied in
perfect timing.
great with everything that happened in this episode. It would have tied in. That could have triggered it. It would have tied in with what Raven was saying, because I'll get to that when we get to Raven. But drop the pretense, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been edging with Summer for basically this entire volume.
We're not dumb. Come on now.
Yeah,
we can take things.
I feel like for them it's Summer. Like they have a list of like stuff that they actually are like, okay, this is what happened to her, and it's like John's Semblance where they have like a chalkboard that just there's a whole bunch of shit crossed out in a locked room that like no one's allowed in except for like the owner of Rooster Teeth and like the two-head right, and then like the directors or whoever, Miles and Carrie. And so that's like it's in the same room.
We've got to keep the Salem is a Summer Rose theory alive and well until we reveal everything.
You see, now since like Ozpin's like
Robert,
super
I know.
old, so okay. Well, I'll hold my thoughts on Salem for a while, but and then it basically cuts to where like he's sitting in the lobby of the school like courtyard, looking at the help wanted board. And basically every huntsman is out on a mission. And so they either say in progress or terminate. Yeah. They either say in progress or terminate.
Or I think there was like canceled or something like that. But yeah, for whatever reason, these huntsmen are all missing and gone and doing stuff. So yeah.
Which either signifies like foul play or the Grimm are just way too strong and these huntsmen were way over their heads.
So whenever it says terminated, that doesn't seem like the word you would use for like the target has been terminated. You know, like terminated doesn't seems like the word where it's like that person might be like presumed dead.
Yeah, mission failed.
Or like the contract the contract has been failed.
Yeah.
So
like the mission was failed or something. Yeah.
So this brings up what I hope will be a subplot that will eventually reveal.
I think it'll be a big part of the main plot, but
yeah, or I feel that this will be a plot point
because Crow even says like he was expecting 2 or 3 of them to have bitten the dust at this point, but all of them.
Yeah, they're either all on mission still or they're dead. It's one of the two, and there's probably a good chunk of them that are dead.
Yeah, I have a thought that some of them might be captured. Like honestly,
I don't know why they would be
Salem
captured.
doesn't strike me as the type to take prisoners, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe not Salem, but we remember like there are other members of our little team. They all have their own little side projects. Because like I see Watson, I'm getting Dr. Merlot flashbacks. All right,
Dr. Watts is just going full Frankenstein on him. And just like, I will create the perfect huntsman as he's sitting there. It's like, this arm's good. Nah, there we go. And
or maybe some of them are being held to be set up for Sienna Khan's murder. But
that could be true too. Also, I actually kind of hope that they say that at this point it's kind of
because it's one of those things where it's like, oh no, a huntsman in Mistral killed Sienna Khan. What huntsman? They're all gone.
They just point to the board. It's like, no, they're all busy. They're gone.
Which one?
They're all dead.
Yeah, they're.
What huntsman? What huntsman can we have possibly sent to do this? Yeah.
So this is I want to. So I feel that this will be a plot point that will be used to bring to light Professor Lionheart's treachery. And I feel like I don't want to say there's anything like foreshadowing to it, but it's an easy tool for them to work with to like start like because they're already suspicious of Lionheart to begin with.
Yeah.
But then this gives them further reason to be actually like this kind of solidifies their suspicion.
Well, because I mean, he's the one, like he's the headmaster, so he's like kind of the head of the entire like huntsman in that area.
Yeah,
so
he's
the one who's giving out the missions. Like, here, I need you, Heather Shields. You take this mission.
Or at least he's the guy who's the middleman between like the missions that come from the council and then
the missions
that come from private individuals.
Yeah,
because I would assume if you're a private individual and you have enough money, you're like, here you go. Here's a bunch of money. I want you to go do something, and they're like, sure, I'll go do it. Capitalism intensifies as we trigger any communists that are listening.
But yeah,
So here's why I am of two minds with this episode. The Grimm, much like Roman Torchwick in the earliest volumes of RWBY, are way more effective off-screen than they are on-screen.
Yeah.
And on one hand, this scene really did hit home, I think. I think it was very effective. On the other hand, why can't we get this stuff on screen? Why can't we have, like, a Grimm that actually, like...
Yeah.
That actually, like...
Bodies people just,
that actually, like, challenges legit huntsmen, like...
Yeah.
The new
So, like, why
Nuklavi was
can't we
cool.
get,
Like,
like,
the
an
Nuklavi
Order
was effective and
66
all.
scene or something like that?
Well, like, the Nuklavi was effective and all, but the Nuklavi was, like, barely effective against first years effectively, or second years effectively.
Like, it was made sure, like, it put up a fight, but after a while, it was made sure,
Quick work was made of it.
Yeah.
So here's what I feel would have improved this scene with Crow trying to recruit people is like we just have like a minute-long scene of like two random huntsmen that are on Crow's list and they're together and they're like it'd be like a little fight scene to start out the episode and like oh, watch out, person X. It's like, oh no, behind you, person, or like, no, person Y, as like person Y is getting mauled in the background, and then that other person just gets like overran and stuff, and then it pans away to like a tree as like you hear like the sounds of like flesh and bone being
Well,
pulled.
you don't even have to go that far. Just have a freaking fight scene where Crow is fighting Grimm and having a hard time dealing with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have to make their characters look badass. Like as.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard for for them to have like the Grimm just like be this like huge threat when they're actually on screen, because they can't really show any like gore or anything because of.
So the irony
that's why they just need to show them. That's why they just need to show an established, powerful character like Crow struggling.
Well, I feel the irony in this is that we were talking like what was it, the second episode podcast with the Lancer Wasp. We were like, man.
Yeah, they're doing work.
This sounds really shitty, but I sure do appreciate that our people are fucking dying on screen right now, even though we don't see it. This is a great way to let us know that the Grimm are actually a threat.
Yeah, for some reason, like the Lancers just like
professional huntsman gets killed by Lancers, then Weiss takes them all down.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a weight. Power scaling here is a little different.
Yeah.
Well, power levels are bullcrap.
Bullshit.
So.
Yeah.
And Weiss's semblance is kind of already OP.
I'm not gonna argue on that.
Like,
I'm gonna like
that's something I'm gonna hammer home in my podcast is the fact that like Weiss's semblance, like, I'll like again, kind of going, getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but I like that Weiss is the one that's like, yeah, I don't believe all of it, but I mean,
just a little bit.
You see my semblance? The body switching is not as crazy as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, here's the thing, like...
what we can do, right?
So, I mean, if we want to just shift into that part, unless anyone really has anything else to say about, like, Crow's little part, other than it's, suspicious as all get out.
I do wonder why, I do wonder why Crow has taken 2 weeks to go out with this list and stuff like that. Like how
timelines don't exist. If a timeline existed, it creates plot holes.
Yeah,
we need a little counter for that. Just be like, there we go. There's another one.
Exactly.
Every time I've complained about that.
I need to get a dry erase book so I can just write shit on it and then be like, there we go.
Yeah. So but I guess I should stop wondering about that one. But yeah.
Well, another thing is like it's like cloudy and rainy and like possibly not, like it's nighttime during the last Ranger segment, which was last episode. Like Ranger's been in every episode, and so that you can kind of think is chronological. Yet last time when they're making dinner here, it's obviously daytime. It's obviously daytime during all the Yang and Weiss stuff.
Yeah.
And they're in the same, like, general vicinity. They're all in the Mysteral region.
Okay, now I will explain
those darn timelines, man.
So here's a fun fact about mountains. If you go... Well, okay. on one side of the mountain, the weather is completely different than it is on the other side. Now, like the temperatures.
Yeah,
I'm
not talking about the weather. I'm talking about like it was just straight up nighttime. Last episode with the Ruby and Oscar scene, and
the writers just let you know that they're in the ghetto because it's always raining and grimdark and dirty and nasty the entire time.
Yeah, like the Crow stuff. Like, yeah, I understand how that works, and that's why I'm not complaining about what the weather is like on Crow's End. But I'm talking
maybe
about
it was just bad luck that summoned the rain.
Aren't we? But wait, isn't this supposed to be the same day as episode 4?
Yes.
Because,
yes. At least with the Yang and Weiss stuff.
Yeah, because Yang and Weiss. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, this. Oh.
I mean, the only way you can defend it is by saying like, oh, all the timelines exist on different. All the stories exist on different timelines, and they're just all converging now.
Oh, this chronology is just awful.
It's just timey-wimey, ugly stuff.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey, wibbly.
I'm thinking of the Bro Team Pill episode for Singularity now. Time!
Yeah. But
it's time to stop.
Yeah. But I do like this, what's going on with these huntsmen and stuff like that. This is starting... I mean, we keep making the comparison, and it's a good one. You know, this is again kind of like the whole Ba Sing Se arc, where people are disappearing and stuff like that. Something else is going on. So I'm liking this little added mystery going on. So
look how convenient the places that are supposed to always be surrounded and guarded by huntsmen at all time seem to be missing all of the huntsmen that are supposed to be guarding them at all time. Man. It would sure be a real bother if the White Fang showed up and attacked at this time. Man, I know. A White Fang attack right now would be terrible. Like we would just lose our shorts. It would be so bad. I know.
It's really short-sighted of us to send away our Atlas militant.
Yeah, it's really short.
I guess a thought is that maybe these huntsmen really are like on long missions and stuff like that, and like Lionheart, because the attack by the White Fang is supposed to happen before the new semester starts up, so maybe Lionheart's actually trying to decrease the casualties and stuff like that. Like he's all like, okay, you need to go here, like he's getting everyone away for when the White Fang comes in to take the relic and stuff like that. So he's trying to
that feel when Lionheart pulls a King Boomy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he's like joke's on you, I wanted to be captured the whole time.
Something like that, like, yeah,
I could have escaped any time. They didn't cover my head.
I could have escaped any time. Yeah, exactly. So who knows? Maybe there's hope for Lionheart, and maybe that's what's actually going on. He's trying to, save lives, even though he's gonna hand the relic, even though he's basically gonna hand the relic over to Salem, probably.
I just feel bad because I know that like Lionheart's gonna redeem himself, and as soon as he redeems himself, he's gonna die.
He's gonna die. Yeah.
You did. Yeah. You did, Kitty.
I don't want him to redeem himself. I mean, I still want Salem to not be as bad as Osmond makes her out to be.
I'm fine with her being as bad. I just don't think Ozpin's as good as he thinks he is.
That's the real litmus test right there. Is like, it's not a two-sided coin. It's just this. It's a coin that has two heads on it instead of a heads and a tails.
Yeah, it's like both sides suck.
So I think unless anyone else has any.
Yeah, let's get into Raven.
Time. Raven's tea time.
So
don't even have the courtesy.
I have thoughts on this.
First of all, I want to say they don't even have the courtesy to get a fire going to warm up the damn tea. And I drink tea.
The tea's fresh though.
But it's cold. I mean, unless it's supposed to be cold.
No, it was heated up with fire dust.
No, like Raven straight up says your tea's gonna get cold, implying that it is actually hot.
It's currently warm.
Yeah, when she picks it up, you see like the red underground, like it's like they have like some kind of like
Yeah. Well, no.
fire crystals or something like that, using it to heat it up.
I think you're thinking of the Ranger segment when they're
The
cooking.
burner, the electrical
Yeah.
burner. Also, I will say this right now: screw electric ranges. If you're not using gas or induction, you just need to get out. I'm done. That's my tirade.
My name is High Power,
so-
and I sell propane and propane accessories.
No, it's my name's High Powered. I sell firearms and firearms accessories
Oh, true.
because that's my actual job.
That's my actual job. Yeah.
So here's my thoughts. It's a more concise version of a much needed talk. It's a more effective version of a much needed talk. It goes 5 minutes, whereas a much needed talk went like 15 minutes. And we actually learned more important stuff than we did in a much needed talk. And the thing is, they didn't even have to, because here's the thing. Raven does not care about Yang's goal. Yang is asking questions, and Raven's like, I have no reason to tell you, so I'm going to tell you what I think you need to hear in order for you to join me. And so that's why, like, she kind of beats around the bush and tells Yang information that she's not looking for, because she's trying to, like, fish her and tease her.
Yeah.
Like, give her a little taste of the truth.
Trying
to bait her.
Yeah. But once again, just come out and say it. Ozpin got Summer Rose killed.
Yeah.
There's no use, like, there's no use beating around the bush anymore. Drop the
That's the bomb. That's the bomb that should have been dropped this episode.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Raven...
Go ahead.
Sorry. I feel like if Raven wanted Yang to stick around, that in this case, more information actually probably would have been better. Like, straight up tell her, you know, this is what happened to Summer Rose. This is what happened to my team. This is what, you know, Ozpin did to us. This is what he's going to do to your sister. What he's going to do to you if you go back to him. I think that would be a lot more effective in getting her to stick around.
I think that would actually make her go after RWBY more and try bringing her somewhere else. And I think,
which would also fit her character.
I think we are going to get that. I think we are going to get that scene.
Which does fit her character motivation too. Also, where like, I feel that Weiss will actually be the one that's like, hey, we need a team meeting after like so. The thing that like stuck out the most for me with this conversation, and I'll say my piece, and then I'll hand it back to you, Robert. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
As I'm balcony posting right now. So the thing that stuck the most to me was like, so Weiss didn't necessarily buy everything that Raven was saying, but the important thing to realize though is that if something comes up that like so the best thing that we have is, so we have Crow's perspective of Ozpin, we have the viewer's perspective that we have of Ozpin, which isn't good to begin with, but now we also have Raven's perspective of Ozpin, which wasn't a whole lot of perspective to begin with. But the important thing to bring out here is that Weiss, so she may not have bought everything that Raven has said, but she will definitely remember it, and she will definitely, like, I don't think she'll bring it up, like, in front of Oscar, especially whenever they're like, oh yeah, that's Ozpin. And then the farm boy's like, hey, what's up?
I could just see, like, Yang, like, grabbing Oscar and just, like, by his little, stupid little neck thing and just, like, lifting him up. It's like, okay, I know you were previously the headmaster, but if something happens to my sister, I'm putting you in permanent detention.
Hey kid, wanna SS? So this is how I see the scene going down, is like Ozpin says something that Raven has talked about, and then immediately becomes like, and gets the look, and it's like, and then immediately wants to go talk to RWBY and Yang privately. So I feel like there's going to be that sort of team talk that we're going to get eventually, but important thing I want to get there is that it seems to click with Weiss that she's definitely going to remember this, because it doesn't matter. Like, Yang honestly just didn't care whatever Raven had to say. So
yeah,
like that's pretty much it. So
yeah, Yeah, and I think I don't know, and I was just gonna finish off by saying like, if Raven had given Yang, the information, told her everything, and she'd been all like, and like told her, this is what's gonna happen to your sister. If Yang I would imagine her doing that in the hopes that Yang would say, "Okay, I'm going to go and grab my sister, and we will be back," and stuff like that. Like she decides to go.
Well, I mean, they're
going to
be back eventually anyway.
Yeah,
This
Yeah,
is true.
we know that
Yeah.
they are going to be back, but like I think, but if they're back as allies, that's just more benefit for Raven. Now she kind of like what we talked about. Now she has a Silver Eyes Warrior on her side as well as a maiden and stuff like that. So I don't know. It just seems like I kind of understand maybe what the process was of Raven being so vague, but I don't know. It succeeded in frustrating Yang, and it frustrates the audience too. And it's like you said, they just need to stop beating around the bush with this stuff. And I feel like it would have been more effective in like considering everything if they had just told us what's these two things. And yeah, but who knows? Maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe when we do finally find out what happens, we'll actually realize that like it was worth the wait. But
we got a few more things from that. The whole thing is like Raven knows a lot. Like it feels like Raven has kind of been watching over Yang at the same time as not watching over Yang.
Yeah, she has been.
yeah.
It's weird. It's like I don't know what's the whole.
I like the trigger for Yang.
I've seen that bird before.
No, I'm talking about before that, like the thing that gets
yeah.
Raven to actually like get up and leave. And be like, oh yeah, come this way. Yeah, your team. Listen to your teammate. They've never let you down before.
Twitch.
Ruins a perfectly good table, man. The guy who owns IKEA in Remnant must be a very rich man.
Yeah.
Also,
teammates have never let you down before. Hello, Blake.
That's why Yang's mad, man.
Her friends have never let her down before.
You're terrible. But also there's like whatever happened between old like Salem and Stark and everything like that. I don't think Ty was part of it, like because he's not that close to Ozpin, and he might have said something to Yang about this whole thing to begin with.
I think he was more into it before Summer died.
Yeah. Once his secondary squeeze got axed, he was like, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah. After Raven left and Summer died, that was probably where he was all like, I'm not gonna be a bandit, but I don't want anything more to do with Ozpin. Although that does kind of raise the question of then why did he let his daughters go to Beacon? But
yeah, it's like why go to Beacon?
Because they still want to be huntsmen, and Beacon is still the best school.
Yeah, probably.
And the closest
and stuff like that, he figured he could keep an eye on them. And
in-state tuition's a whole lot cheaper than out-of-state tuition.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he was a teacher at Signal, but it's still like I just feel like if that was a whole thing, he should have been playing a bigger part.
Yeah, but
instead he's just kind of like he's there.
Yeah, but we did kind of get an idea that there's a little bit of resentment there. With this season, with the finale in season 3, like when Crow's like, can I talk to RWBY? And he kind of gives him that look of like,
really?
Yeah, kind of that look of like, you're seriously going to drag my daughter into this? He's like, I've been trying to, like,
it's happening again. It's happening.
Yeah, exactly. It's happening again.
Watch, some blonde-haired boy's gonna get her pregnant now too. Also, oh wait, no, it's actually Oscar who's gonna do it because of all the Rose Garden shipping that's been happening.
Like the first? No, isn't the first joke I ever made about Oscar that he should be shipped with Yang?
It's like what?
No, that's what I wanted. I wanted Oscar to be shipped with Yang.
Because remember, my initial theory was that he was on Patch.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
burning the bush.
But yeah,
burning the bush.
But yeah, and I don't know. It is kind of interesting what we learned about Stark there and stuff like that. Although, so Raven talks about these patterns between Team Stark and Team RWBY, and we take her word for it,
which we already knew. Which it was already implied.
Yeah, we already kind of figured that Team RWBY was, for the most part, receiving special treatment from Ozpin. We were kind of his favorites, although he used Pyrrha for the maiden. But anyway,
well, again, that has way more to do with the fact that she was the strongest in the class. more than anything.
Yeah, I think, and also
More
too,
than-
Pierre was
more than
probably the most
anything.
easily manipulated too out of all the students there.
Very, very.
Yeah.
easily.
Oh man, I can't
But I
wait.
do-
I can't wait to do my honest look at Pyrrha. It's gonna be really good.
I
But at
mean,
the same-
Pierre served her purpose for what she was
Yeah.
designed to do, and she was designed to die.
yeah.
Aren't we all?
But I
Team
do,
mournful Arco shipper here.
but I do look at that. But like you look at what the comparisons that Raven has, where she's all like special attention. Really, the only member of Team RWBY that Osmond paid much attention to was Ruby, though.
She did
And
not want
then-
attention.
Extra training missions. I guess we're counting Grim Eclipse with that one.
Yeah.
And then letting you get away with stuff. It's like okay, but it was just one
The
of those
entire
things
second
where-
half of Volume 2 right there.
Pretty much, actually, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what are you
but it's-
doing?
But it's just one of those things where it's kind of like I don't know. I guess hindsight being 2020, they should have shown Oz
And a bitch.
paying more attention. Yeah, that they should have shown Ozpin, paying more attention, not just to Ruby, but
They
To
should
the
have actually
entire
done
team
stuff
and
in
stuff
Volume
like
1 and 2.
yeah.
Osmond's just sitting here like, I've got my mug. I'm going to like sip
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
and then
Instead
I'm
of
going
just
to act
being in the
mysterious
background
with my
the entire
cane,
time,
and
we
then
Yeah, instead of him being in the background the entire time, we should have had shots of him like actually talking to them. And I guess he did also talk to Blake, so there's kind of that, but that was just one scene that everybody forgets.
And that
That
was
feeling-
actually in Volume 2.
But yeah, but it is kind of one of those interesting things. And again, I think you were right, High Powered, that Yang was, just too pissy about you ditched me, you left me and stuff like that. You're a terrible mom to really care about anything that Raven had to say. But I do think that Weiss kind of the mostly impartial party, although Raven did kidnap her, is probably
Weiss gets like sassy with her.
Mhm.
yeah.
why is
You're
this like,
really
oh, you
obnoxious.
just broke out. Don't
That
you
was
step up to me?
Yeah, that was kind of a
Don't make me put you back in that cage. Also, that cage costs quite a bit of money to manufacture.
it's all
Really,
you
it
need
looked
to
like
get broke, you
it
gotta
just
put
looked
me
like
in
some
a
metal
nut.
bars and a wooden plank.
Yeah, it's all like you get a bit. It's like, oh, what? You gotta put me in a bed. You gotta. It's all like you're gonna need a better cage.
It's like,
But
don't
yeah,
worry,
but-
you'll get to stay in Vernal's tent.
Oh dear.
She's got. It's like, yeah,
But-
she got
Speaking of
mad
Bernard, she
powers.
seems very domesticated in this episode.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it has,
surprisingly.
Yeah, but I do think that.
I look
Hey,
forward to the I
ma-
look forward to the fanfics of her and
Oh,
Raven.
no.
Raven's a mommy dom.
Vernal in a maid outfit.
But yeah, I do. But yeah, I do think that if anyone's like the impartial party there, and if anyone's going to be kind of like, maybe she had a point, it's probably going to be Weiss.
Yeah.
And again, it's because Weiss's semblance is just the most absurd power in this entire franchise.
Well, and that's the other thing too. It's like we look at Weiss's past too. Like, look at the shit
Yeah.
she had to put up with in Volume 4 too. Also, like, she understands perfectly well too. Like, oh, I thought I had everything under control. Oh no, that rug has been pulled out from underneath. So, like,
Yeah.
if anything, like she has this information, she's gonna hold on to it, and whenever it becomes useful to her, she will act upon it.
Yeah.
Or especially if it could potentially lead to her friends, i.e., Ruby and Yang, getting into danger. So
Yeah.
I feel that we were hoping that Ren was going to be the voice of reason along with John, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be Weiss this episode.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yes,
I mean,
with
which is fine because Weiss was kind of the voice of reason for chunks of volumes 1 through 3.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense for it to be her. And
You know
stuff.
what? It's like, it's like,
And if she does bring it up to like the rest of Ranger and stuff like that, I could Jean backing her up and being all like, "Well, this is the same guy who used my partner." So
They try to make Weiss the Lancer of the group to mixed success.
yeah.
Are we talking about Fate Stay Night right now?
No, I'm talking
No, we're
about
talking
the
about
five-man
band.
band trope that predates Fate's Day Night by a good millennium.
Yeah.
I don't think I've participated in fandom.
Speaking of another thing I need to download,
Yeah,
I could watch
basically
all the Fate Stay Night
basically
stuff.
The Lancer is shorthand for kind of the rebel.
Nah.
The one who will call the leader out on his or her bullcrap.
Oh, like Sir Davos in Game of Thrones.
No.
I don't
Kind
know.
of,
Man.
yeah. Well, yeah. We'll forward you guys a video.
Just look up
Because
Trope
you know
Talk.
that-
Just look up Trope Talks. Overly Sarcastic Productions.
Yeah, they do some really good stuff. They talked about it, how, yeah, with 5-man bands, there's a leader, a lancer, a smart guy, a tough guy, and the heart. And so, yeah, the leader is pretty self-explanatory. The lancer is usually the person, like, if somebody's going to argue with the leader and stuff like that, it's usually the lancer.
Well, which is funny because, you know, she's Ruby's partner, and the whole fact is, like, even in Volume 1 when they were looking for Blake, it's like, what she was saying was bad from an objective was bad, but, you know, logically, you know, it's like, you know, who else? The police, you know, that she's not wrong per se, and that
Yeah,
She has a point.
Yeah,
she's like, she has a point.
being the point of reason and stuff
Yeah,
like that, and
and
the point of
regardless
the
of
voice
her
of
thought process.
dissension. Yeah.
And the whole like not calling the police thing, like it really depends on how effective the rest of like how much I'm willing to buy that has more to do with how effective the rest of the plot is. Like
right.
Alfred Hitchcock actually said that, like, why don't my characters ever call the police? Well, because it's dull.
Yeah, because
It's boring. Why would we call the
is
police
true.
whenever we can watch cute anime girls fight monsters and robots and other
pretty
cute
much.
anime
I'm
characters?
not sure that's what Hitchcock had in mind.
Well, welcome to 2017, motherfucker.
It's just
Although
like,
he'd probably be into it.
Who needs that? Who
he
needs
had that
that?
kind of sense of humor.
Alfred Hitchcock just has a whole bunch of like body pillows just hung up in his room as he's like writing more of his novels. It's like, man, this
That
is
might.
great. This
If
is
I
so.
might be-
ever
that
see
might be
art of
kind
that, that's gonna be my new
disturbing.
background.
He was kind of he was kind
Someone
of
get on
allowed. He was kind of allowed with women.
so
but
so-
yeah.
So one thing I want to point out. So whenever Raven was talking about Salem, it cuts to the map of
Yeah.
remnants, and it slowly pans over to everything. But it pans over and it ends suspiciously near the mystical dragon continent.
yeah, it's been loudly like
Subtle.
it's been like people have been suspecting that to be little.
What? Then how did Tyrion run all the way
Well, I've
there
been-
in like a day?
I almost pulled a high powered and called it Raven's Continent. People have been
I've
saying
been doing
that
good with
Salem's
the
Continent-
names today. I guess it's the alcohol, and I don't even. I mean,
But yeah, it's like people have been saying that it's been Salem's Continent for like a while. Like even on like
The
since
Volume
Theory
4
days.
kind of destroyed that theory because Tyrion runs all the way from Aniyuri to Salem's hideout in like a day.
maybe there's portals.
I don't know.
No, see, because now we know that the portals are Raven semblance, and so that destroys that entire theory that they can teleport.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the magic aspect of this because I feel it needs to be brought in. So they're
The
like,
bird thing is
"Oh,
stupid. It was never not going to be stupid.
yeah, this is true. So they're like, I was turned into a raven. It's like it isn't like you're not like you're not a human transforming into a werewolf. And we're literally listening to all your bones break, expand, and then reshape themselves along with all your muscle stature. To
No,
like,
it's not like
this is-
Animorphs. It's not brutal. It's just poof. Now they're a bird.
it's literally like in World of Warcraft. If you're a druid, it's like bear form, and you click a button, and then a puff of smoke. It's like, look, I'm a bear, and now I'm a tiger, and now I'm a tree thing, and now I'm like a owl walkie thing.
Boomkin.
And that's
Yeah.
why I
You know
wonder
what?
if
Raven
And
and
that-
Crow are the Wonder Twins.
Form of an eagle. Form of a bucket of shit.
That feel
And
when not being turned into a I forget what the
That's the
falcon
real
is though.
inspiration. They're the Wonder Twins.
I was so I
Give
remember
fan art of that, like Ruby and Raven and Crow wearing like the Wonder Twin uniforms. Like
that would
it's
be
probably like Wonder Twin
that
powers activate form of
Well, I know
birds.
Crow wears an awfully big ring. I don't know if
right now I'm
if
thinking of
Raven
that
does.
scene from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood where Edward starts waving around Alphonse's hair. Super or super sibling telepathy powers activate.
So we were talking about this on the Discord about like so it's like but why birds though? And it's like so the obvious reason comes by it's like for spying purposes.
Yeah.
So the other thing is too is like I actually looked this up because I was bored. So the average flight speed between a crow and a raven is anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour. Also, the ability to cross borders as a bird is very, very good. Unless it's hunting season, and for some reason they hunt crows and ravens during bird hunting season, maybe not a good idea. Oh god.
Yeah.
That makes
I don't know
me
if they have
think-
hunting seasons, honestly.
over there they probably don't, but I mean, you
Hunting
know,
seasons is
Hunting,
a job.
hunting season is year round.
Grim, you
and
shoot
it's all
Grim.
about Grim.
but you can't eat the grim. So,
Take
Take
well,
pictures of it before it dissipates. I don't
Have you
know.
tried?
Yeah.
and so,
Salem's true origin.
I
She
mean-
tried eating a Grim.
Ugh.
I mean,
I mean, Nora
the-
ate a Grim in
It didn't
Chibi,
work.
so
and then the other thing is too is like,
Also,
I mean, like was like the ability was the buff that Ozpin put on both Crow and Raven, was this like some like blood magic or something where they had to like sacrifice like a child or something to get it done?
There's like some terrible experiment that he was working on.
Yeah, like
it's one of those things where that's why I
well,
wonder
when
if-
Raven says like that Osmond did it, she has this smug look like, yeah, I'm about to show you some real magic.
it's like
and that's what I wonder about. Like, was she just trying to explain, look what Ozpin has done to me, or was that just her way of saying, see, magic, real?
This-
what
I,
yeah,
I think
it
it was
was
the
the
same
latter,
magic.
because
I think
it's
it was
more
the
the
same magic
latter.
real.
Yeah, I think it's more the
That's
latter, because like if it was the former, it'd be like, but you can fly and transform
like,
at will. What
why
is wrong?
Yeah, it's like, okay, but why is this such a terrible thing that Ozpin has done to you?
I mean, unless the reason you didn't come back is because you were literally a bird. Like
Yeah, like you only
stuck in
just
that form forever. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like you
I
only
don't-
just started. Yeah, like you can't control the transformations, although that's clearly not the case.
I mean, she can control them now, but like but that's only if it was the
Yeah,
former.
she could
If
do
we're going by
something
the
like
former
that.
stuff.
I don't know. It's just kind of very convoluted.
It would have been
and,
so much easier and so much simpler and so much better for the world building in the show if Raven and Crow semblances were the birds, and then like the portals and stuff were something else,
Like Ruby's speed
like
with
like
the rose
dust,
petals.
so-
and
or
stuff
like
that.
dust.
Yeah, and so
yeah, that's what we first said about the portals, was just extremely creative dust usage.
Because it would also like
yeah,
reduce any. It would basically get if the portals were dust, that would mean anyone could actually use them, and that would take away so many plot holes about like where characters are at when.
yeah, how these characters get away.
Like
so
like
fast.
how Adam
Like,
apparently
how did-
teleports from Vale to Mistral somewhere somewhere
Yeah.
during Volume 4.
Yeah,
Well, there was that 6
how
months
did
time skip,
Cinder
so we
get
can't really.
away from Vale.
Well, no,
after
like
Ruby
he's
apparently
still in
demolished
Vale during Yang's first scene because they talk about him in the news. Like the Vale authorities have tried to apprehend him and have been murdered. And then next thing we hear, he's all the way in Mistral during the Blake plot, which takes place a month before anyone else's.
And now takes
Yeah.
a month after everyone else's.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and also just how did Cinder get away from Beacon after Ruby apparently shredded her and stuff like
Yeah,
that? Like,
yeah,
how did-
it would like
yeah. If it was a portal, that would make so much sense and stuff like that. So, yeah, and
I mean that's what I use. That's what I freaking spam portals throughout Ruby on.
yeah,
Everyone's
And
just
so-
spamming portals left and right.
yeah. And so,
Yelling in general chat in World of Warcraft, need portal to $1 10 gold.
Oh no.
yeah, and so here's
I remember when that was a thing.
Sorry. But yeah. And so here's kind of my take on, I guess, the issue that they're having with having semblances and dust and aura exist in the same universe as magic. Is that... So there's an author, his name is Brandon Sanderson, and he has kind of laws that he has for magic and fantasy and stuff like that. And what he talks about is how, and the first law that he has is an author's ability to solve conflicts satisfactorily with magic is directly proportional to how well the reader understands said magic. So like, we have all these questions about, how this stuff works, and it's because Miles and Carrie have not sufficiently explained aura and dust and semblances to us. And also it leaves us wondering what is magic and what is semblances. because like what magic can do hasn't been sufficiently explained. And then he also talks about how there's hard magic, which is well-defined magic that doesn't feel like a Deus Ex Machina because it's that doesn't feel like a Deus Ex Machina because it's very specific, and the audience understands, okay, this is how this works, we accept this is why it makes sense. And then soft magic, which is basically Harry Potter magic, where everything feels like a Deus Ex Machina and stuff like that because it's not really well defined.
And yeah, with Harry Potter, I don't think it was at first, and I think a lot of that has to do with J.K. Rowling having been an inexperienced writer at first, and so she had like the idea. And Harry Potter's like way more character centric than his world. The world building in Harry Potter makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
but that's not what it's about. It's not about the world of the wizards. It's about Harry Potter.
Yeah, no,
I know the title should give it away, but I know plenty of Harry Potter fans that actually don't understand that.
Yeah, but then like his second law is that limitations are more interesting than powers and stuff like that. And again, I think that's something that Miles and Carey have done, horribly wrong here, is that they haven't explained the limit. Like, we don't know what semblances can't do. We don't know what aura can't do. We don't know what dust can't do. And therefore, and if we knew that, then we would be able to, like, if we knew what semblances and aura and dust can't do, then we would be, then the introduction of magic would be a lot more surprising and a lot more interesting, because it would be like, whoa, this is something new. This is something that shouldn't be happening. This is interesting. And then,
and we don't even know if magic.
Yeah, I'd say One Piece is a good gold standard to measure something like this.
No, I would say I would actually say that it would be better if the semblances
One
were
Piece
more
or
like
early Naruto.
orcs from My Hero. My Hero.
Exactly. Yeah, My Hero Academia does a really good job with that. They are very
and My Hero Academia basically got it from
limited.
Naruto. Yeah, they basically do the same thing in that early Naruto. That's why like early Naruto or One Piece would be like kind of the gold standards. My Hero Academia just lives up to that gold standard because it takes what works from those stories and.
Yeah,
you can even say like stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures too, also, which they're just everyone has
later stands like Stardust Crusader stands were like really generic and kind of undefined. Like the whole plot hole with isn't her name Holly? The fact that like her stand is killing her, but yet Death 13 is a literal infant and has like a super powerful stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
I feel because like whenever it comes to like semblances and stuff, so whenever it comes to superpowers, just in general, I feel like the one thing I like is like this is especially when it comes to like especially JoJo's is it's like you could have a really shitty power, but if it's used correctly, it's very like if you use it very creatively, it's strong. Like for example, in Stardust Crusaders, one of my favorite like.
That's why the Jotaro versus Darby fight is like so legendary, despite not a single punch being thrown.
Oh, the gambling one.
Yeah. Both Darby fights, the gambling one and the video game.
Gambling and the video game one. So the
favorite.
Thing,
sorry.
So like
Go ahead.
And why Jotaro versus Dio was an absolute disappointment.
So like one of my favorite fights was it's the prolonged fight between Alvaro and Joseph with the magnetism lady, which the magnetism lady works where like if you touch her like little stand thing, then you become magnetic and it becomes more and more powerful over time. But then that gets used against her at the end.
Yeah,
because Joseph is a clever little bugger.
Yeah, because Joseph is probably the most intelligent character in that entire series.
I want to say intelligent. He's clever. He's the most clever Joestar.
Yeah, and that's why my favorite fight I think one of the most underrated and under talked about fights in My Hero Academia is Uraraka versus Bakugo in season 2.
Yep.
Because in that, she is, first of all, Uraraka is a freaking champ. She takes the beating like a champ. She's tough. She proves that she's tough as nails. But also, like, the way that she uses her quirk, like basically sending a bunch of debris up into the air because she affects gravity by touching it. While and while Bakugo is just throwing explosion after explosion at her, and then tries to drop it on him. That was brilliant. That was a real that was one of those fights where it's like, okay, how is she going to how does she even stand a chance against this guy? How is she going to use her quirk? And she nearly beats him, and it's incredible. So
yeah, but it's also
showcasing
how clever you are with your semblance or quirk or whatever. That's a whole entirely different thing than actually the limitations you were talking about, Robert. But the whole thing is about her limitations.
Yeah, this is true.
Using it, she just gets squeezed, she wants to barf Rainbow.
Yeah, but that's also another thing that makes My Hero Academia good is that even Bakugo, who seems really overpowered, the more his semblance, has the potential to break his arms and stuff like that.
Potentially kill him.
And because of that, and he's so well aware of that, he's actually the first person to recognize Todoroki's limitations. He realizes it before Todoroki ever does. And then he exploits the heck out of it.
What am I...
Yeah, and so with RWBY, if they would have defined the limitations of semblance overall and made put a barrier on what semblances can do overall,
I always thought
then this introduction of magic would be a lot less confusing.
Yeah,
I always thought RWBY should... Aura, and it took forever to get anything set up about Aura, because it used to be oh, this is just an HP bar with your shield, it's a force field, and it goes down to 0. You're weak.
But you got to expend your life bar so you can do sick damage and abilities. But I feel one of the questions...
I feel like RWBY should have always built its fight scenes around semblances rather than gunblades and choreography. Because choreography is nice and all, but you can only do so much with choreography before you start getting to the Dragon Ball territory of just...
I've seen this roundhouse before.
So since it feels like we're kind of creeping into the theories and predictions part, so
do we have anything more to say about this?
Well, I mean, RWBY is mostly reunited and it's very wholesome.
Yeah, it's comfy.
Oscar didn't say words, so I'm happy.
Oscar muttered and then muttered unintelligibly. That's the word, right? Incoherently.
Which, by the way, I saw your what you guys were talking about earlier when we were talking about how whenever you get a shot of someone between somebody else's legs and stuff like that, that's the universal signal of incoming infidelity and stuff like that.
From the Graduate.
Cuckolding intensifies.
And so I saw that. And so I saw that shot of
there's a lot of in between the leg shots in this
between
episode.
RWBY's legs, and I was all oh man, RWBY's about to cheat on Oscar with White's getting That's gonna get weird.
Cut that off. Cut. No. Cut.
It's gonna get weird.
I'm suffering. I'm suffering right now.
I thought that was funny, but no, this was a sweet scene.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. So just as a priming question, start out with for the theorizing and speculation part. So let's define what would potentially be a physical cost to the use of magic in the RWBY universe. So what makes sense that would be the cost of the usage of magic in the RWBY universe with what we know so far, which isn't a whole lot to begin with. Yeah. So I kind of put that out to everyone just to kind of, poke at it to see what happens. Yeah, it can honestly be anything, but what do you feel would be a reasonable cost for the use of magic?
Well, I'm going to go first on this one. I'm just going to say, at first I would say, it'd have to be, something to do with, with your soul, but the soul thing has to deal with aura in the first place. So I don't know. It's the whole thing with the magic thing is kind of people want power. So of course, if you have the power, then other people are going to want it. And it's kind of it's having magic just kind of makes you a huge target, and then you're just weak to all these different things, and people just want to use you. I don't know. The cost of that is literally just popularity and just avarice.
Yeah,
that's why I think it's kind of backwards that Ospen wanted Pyrrha. I get that it was more than anything about the fact that she was the strongest in the class.
Yeah.
Given more time, literally anyone else would have been better for it. But
Yeah, but at the same time, you wanted.
She was at the
Yeah,
most ready for it.
But the thing is, she was a celebrity. Like, so you can either keep the whole maiden thing a secret, or you can have the most famous 17-year-old in the world be a maiden. You can't have both.
Well, he wanted to put her as a guardian, and the way Pyrrha used her powers literally was just like so subtle you didn't even notice it because she just barely used it. And so, I think that's why she barely used her powers, and it was just kind of like, oh, it's subtle. It's like,
but this is all like what if scenarios if Pyrrha never died.
This is true.
And maybe they should, and maybe if they thought more about it, they would have put a little more emphasis on that, like, because you know how to be subtle, you know how to keep this a secret, so we feel that we can trust you with this. But yeah,
and you're also easily manipulated.
It's like AKA secret maiden, and just
And they did talk about how the maiden powers are connected to like a person's soul and stuff like that. It's why they thought that transferring the powers to Pyrrha, like transferring Amber's soul to Pyrrha, would in turn transfer the powers to her as well. So it is possible that, like, as far as maiden powers go, it could just be an additional drain on your aura and stuff like that. And we do see like Cinder struggling in Volume 4 when she's practicing with the maiden power, that she's getting weaker, which I think is supposed to be an indicator that her aura is being drained. So that might be that there. But again, aura has been
wonky.
Poorly.
I mean,
aura is also just a very wonky thing. So that's kind of a tough part.
The thing that makes sense to me with the use of magic is that it's extremely like taxing physically. So, like, for example, like the best way to think about it is like the shitty anime trope where it's like, oh, this fight's done. Or no, there's there's a show called Darker Than Black, and people have powers, but to use their powers, like, they have to do something afterwards to replenish it. And so the main character actually, he gets off pretty light. Whenever he uses his powers, he basically just has to go out and just eat a bunch of food. But there's like another character in the series, I think he's like a villain, where like whenever he uses his powers, he literally like has to take a pack of cigarettes and just like eat the cigarettes. As like his ability to regain his powers. So like for me, the thing that makes the most sense in the RWBY universe is that it's extremely taxing, like physically, which I feel that if I were to make assumptions here, and assuming this is correct, like let's just say that like, oh, I've been walking all day, I haven't had any meals, and now I have to fight. Like your aura may not be at like 100%, if that makes sense. So that's what would make sense to me. That's pretty much it for my opinion on the matter. But I feel like there needs to be like some sort of like like counterbalance, because like if Ozpin could just use magic willy-nilly, then he would have.
Yeah, I think it would just little this.
Like maybe it ages him, or it shortens his lifespan. Like he's literally his permanent health bar is shrinking every. Yeah, his permanent health bar is shrinking like every time, and I don't know, someone might have brought this up in one of our like off podcast discussions where it's like Ozpin is losing a little bit of power every time he transfers like bodies or something. Which I actually would kind of like. It would make me slightly sympathetic to Ozpin, kind of, but not really. Like, I actually kind of hope that's something like that. That seems like, I don't know.
That still wouldn't explain to me. It's like, it just goes back to that question that I've been having pretty much all volume and stuff like that. Ozpin had access to the relics. Why is Salem still alive and stuff like that? So, I don't know. It just seems.
And he had one maiden under control, so I mean.
Well, I'm assuming that he had like all four and stuff like that, because he built the so he had all four relics. He built the academies. That was confirmed this episode, by the way. Raven said he built the academies. So he built the academies. He built the vaults that the relics. I'm assuming he built that with the academies. He also built the vaults in which the relics were hidden, and he had the maidens on hand, to make the locks. So he had access to all 4 maidens and the relics for about 70 years until Vernal went off the reservation. So,
and Autumn died.
Which I'm theorizing which my current standing theory is that Raven pulled Vernal off the reservation and stuff like that. Like she realized what Ozpin was up to and grabbed her and ran. Might have talked about that. But it's just one of those things where it's like he had to kill her. So either he's incredibly incompetent or he doesn't want her dead. So
but he wants to stop, so not exactly slay her.
Yeah, why not both?
Yeah. He's incredibly incompetent. That could also be it. Like, that he didn't want her dead, but he thought, well, I've got all this. I can keep her at bay. And that might explain why Cinder had that line in Volume 3 where she was all like, all this time under our feet. She was
so
right
arrogant.
about you. Yeah, when she was right about you. So arrogant. Like, maybe that was what she meant. Like, you thought you could control us by keeping, this power right under our feet. You are so arrogant.
You fool!
Yeah, you thought you could control Salem, you arrogant jackass.
So, Meaty, do you have anything to add with the magic? Like, what sort of cost it would have?
Yeah, sorry about that.
I like the life force thing. I always kind of liked abilities like that, like going old school Dragon Ball with the way the Kikoho used to be portrayed as a move so powerful. But it's stronger than the user and actually uses life energy instead of just regular ki. Like I always liked that.
Until he started
until Toei Animation forgot that until Toei Animation and Akira Toriyama forgot that he actually has other moves other than the Kikoho.
So here's another thing
I was thinking the Kaioken for a second there, but
so here's another thing that was brought up in this episode too. Also,
your muscles.
So I'm not
different than Super Saiyan 3.
So I want to bring this up just so I can gloat a little bit, even though I'm warm but not right. If this makes sense. So whenever Raven talks about what Raven's end goal is the destruction of humanity, I'm like, so my original thought process was like, oh, she just wants to pacify humanity. So it's like, okay, it's destroy humanity, which is still very vague.
Well, she says she wants humanity to crumble at her feet.
Yeah, so in my mind, like, my statement of pacifying humanity makes a whole lot of sense. Because if humanity has crumbled at her feet and is no longer a threat, then it's pacified.
I don't know. To me, I hear crumble at her feet.
That feel when Raven is drinking a little more of Ozpin's Kool-Aid than she realizes, and that's actually not what Salem wants. That's just what Raven has been doing.
Her tongue is still red.
I imagine like utter destruction and stuff like that when I hear crumble at her feet, but
I think Salem wants to rule the world. I think she's basically like Dr. Doom.
I don't know.
So, okay, so
I don't know. Like, she controls the Grimm and stuff like that, and she's made it clear, and like she says herself that the Grimm's goal is to return humanity to the void and stuff like that, but maybe that's not her goal and she's not the Grimm. I don't know. It seems I don't know. It's kind of yeah, I don't know. I'm still of the opinion that she's got utter destruction on the mind, but we'll see.
So let's talk about the all of the huntsmen that are out on missions, either still on missions or MIA or KIA. So everyone knows what MIA and KIA stands for, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me think about it. KIA, that's a car, right?
No, that's a Kia.
That's a Kia.
No. I thought that was the furniture.
Oh yeah,
no,
true.
That's IKEA. That's IKEA.
I've heard just like
you key to what?
Oh,
so
talking about keys again? Like, are we going back to Kingdom Hearts?
No.
So I feel
that joke into the ground in record time.
Yeah. So I think we all share a very similar opinion to this, although I think our implications will be different. So
Lionheart
feel-
has something to do with it. Either he sold them all out to get them killed, or he sent them out
I don't think so. I think they're gonna go like that's just how dangerous the Grimm have become. Because these are supposed to be huntsmen that the Council, and by extension Lionheart, does not have control over. Like, that was the entire point of recruiting these huntsmen specifically.
Maybe.
So I think this, to me, it would be unfortunate if this is just played up to as a contrivance to where they're like, oh, we don't want to like have a whole bunch of like random Joes like rolling around with them whenever they go to like grab Vernal from the bandit camp.
Although I do appreciate them not introducing a bunch of new characters. But
I mean, if they introduce a bunch of like cute female anime characters, then I'm all for it. But I mean,
brown anime waifus, yeah. But
I mean, they wouldn't have even had to recruit new characters. They should have just recruited like Team Sun, Winter, get Yang and Weiss in there, call it a day.
I'm hoping that they are going to grab Winter. I'm still holding on to hope that Mr. Weiss is gonna, like. I know of Weiss is gonna be like. I know of a Atlas safe house. It's a long shot, but let's check. But why don't we check and like they find out that she's still there or something?
They somehow get the cell reception to call Ironwood and ask where all the CIA assets are at in Mistral.
He's like,
I still
don't know what you're talking
I
about.
still
We
legit think
don't have anything like that. Cut the shit.
Because if Ironwood doesn't have people like just hiding out in Mistral ready to spring into action, that would actually it would completely contradict everything that every word Ironwood has ever said since he was introduced.
Yeah, that would be kind of out of character for him.
I am militarily intervening in this conflict, whether you like it or not, as just like hordes of robots and walking tanks are just being dropped onto the battlefield.
Are these on our side, or are they going to shoot at us again?
Never thought. And Crow's just like, never thought I'd be happy for you.
Yeah, I don't think Ironwood's going to use robots.
Never thought I'd be happy to see a battalion of what were the robots called again? Did they have a name like the man-sized robots?
I never thought I'd see. I don't know. Crow just called them sentient garbage.
They're called the Elysian Knights.
Yeah.
What were the dreadnoughts called?
Elysian
Paladins.
Paladins. Okay.
Or are you talking about the ships, the airships? I think those.
No. So I'm using 40k terms because whenever I see a bipedal walking tank that's not a Metal Gear, it's a dreadnought.
Okay, yeah, Paladins.
Metal Gear.
Yeah, never thought I'd be happy to see an army of Elysian Paladins.
But
never
so
thought
I mean,
wanted to see any of these ever again.
So I just So Media, you could go first. But what? Okay, so do you feel that all these huntsmen disappearing will hold water as a plot point going on?
Nope. Okay. I think the next time we see Grimm, they're just gonna get slaughtered by Oscar.
Yeah.
Oscar just like force lightnings them to death. I would like that this plot point holds some sort of water. I feel that this would be a good way to expose Lionheart's potential treachery, though. But who actually knows? But that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, it's for me. This is like it's kind of one of the words in the intelligence community. There's no such thing as a coincidence. So,
yeah,
I kind of like it if the barkeep was like actually joined up with them for like just an episode or so.
You just want more land at Pator.
Gets the entire fight. Tricks the entire fight club to show up. Like, hey, there's this other new fight club out here in the woods, and they're calling y'all a bunch of punk ass bitches. And they're like, we can't stand for this.
Yeah.
And then they join up. All right, it's your turn, Sock, and then Robert.
If the whole is this plot point going to hold any water?
Yeah, or just what do you think that this plot point could lead to?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to side with like Media on this one. It's like I just think like there's just showing like it's just showing us that like all these like huntsmen that are not under the council's thumb are just
the Grimm are a threat, we swear.
Yeah, the Grimm are a threat, we swear. Everyone else is dead, but all the huntsmen are just kind of close by.
Except all the named characters just don't even break a sweat.
Yeah, like it's I don't think it's gonna hold much water, but it's good. It is going to like as far as that go. But the whole them all down, like all the like lower huntsmen being just like sent off to their deaths or anything like that, even though that's part of their job. It's the whole. It is going to like lead to. It's going to lead to something with Lionheart and everything like that showing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the Grimm are gonna change much, but I do think that this is going to raise more suspicions about Lionheart and either Ozpin is going and yeah. I don't know. I still like the idea that Lionheart, like, I don't know. I guess I could potentially. I still like the idea of them basically going to Lionheart and being all like, you sent all these huntsmen off to die. He's like, no, I saved their lives and stuff like that, and being like, I sent them away so they wouldn't be here when when things go bad. I saved their lives.
We
and
haven't
stuff
seen
like
Lionheart since episode 2 of this volume.
This kind of concerns me also that we haven't seen in. We're going to see Lionheart in episode 7. I could feel it in my bones.
He's dead. Next time we see him, we're going to find out that he's dead or something. I don't know.
They're not going to kill him off.
No, they wouldn't do that, would they?
I don't know.
He's too much of a good puppet.
I don't know. But I do think that would be an interesting, like that little bit of, I guess, kind of like you said, I think that would be an interesting bit of like redemption for him right before he kicks the butt, right before he gets offed.
The whole thing is like, yeah, I sent them off to like, so they're not here when we get attacked and taken over. It's like, yeah, but see, there's the thing. The Grimm are really bad out there, like you just said in episode 2. They're dead now, and even if they weren't, they come back to the place that's already been ransacked and their families are dead. Yeah, you're not helping matter.
That's a good point. So I guess that's a good point. Either way, they're kind of screwed. So maybe it is.
This honestly makes me think that Lionheart's just gonna, like, as soon as the White Fang attacks, he's just gonna be like, I surrender. Throw up the white flag.
Yeah, he's just gonna stand aside. Yeah, he's just gonna stand aside while they all rush in. Who knows? But yeah, I do wonder about that. Like, maybe it's not the most well thought out plan. Like, he's trying to save lives and stuff like that, and maybe failing miserably or something like that. Like, he's like, he thinks he gave them a fighting chance or something like that. But
no, you fed him to the wolves, man. You fed him to the wolves, the Beowulfs.
He was giving them a fighting chance, but it didn't go the way he planned, and everything is just So yeah, who knows? I think
I could definitely see it being like a short-sighted, like good intention thing, but in the end, of long term and just like a broader view, it puts it like,
and like Watt,
they have to
like Watt had other plans, so he was all like, okay, he's trying to save their he thinks he's saving their lives. Let's prove him wrong.
Yeah, it's like the White Finger here to kill everyone, particularly humans.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, like he thinks that. Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the racist sign outside of the.
We mentioned it.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier.
Close to the beginning.
Is the
we just gotta be
against Faunus that we've seen.
It's
a sign. Jim Crow laws going on right now. Yeah. Barely.
Yeah.
Human water fountain, Faunus water fountain. It's just a hose.
Which to be fair, like that is kind of, I don't know, the whole issue with the way Faunus discrimination has been portrayed so far is that the only real example we have of someone discriminating against Faunus is like Weiss, and that was kind of effective because like she kind of had a reason for it. But then there's Cardin, and like Jean said, he's a jerk to everyone. So the fact that in this case it's discrimination, I'm assuming against like the bartender that we met there, who's like, a guy who's just trying to run a business and stuff like that, kind of got a foul temper, but also, has a bit of respect for Huntsman, and also doesn't like Faunus. Like that makes it feel a lot more like, I don't know. That makes it kind of like you said, it feels more like, kind of like the norm and stuff like that. Like it's a legitimate thing that Faunus have to be concerned about and stuff like that. So
It's a nice little touch, but at the same time, we don't see much of it. I mean, if we saw more of it, but then again, they can't just stuff it down our throats because we'd be like, "Oh my god, stop with the sob stories."
Yeah, it's kind of that happy.
Like, it's not all faunists are treated like this. Just
yeah, it's kind of the happy medium that they struggle with. But at the same time, I mean, we are supposed to assume that is a place that the white, like they have kind of implied that that Mistral is a place where faunist discrimination is particularly bad because the White Fang doesn't like them. So,
which you think it'd be Atlas.
They're probably number 2 on their shit list as soon as they have big enough numbers.
I can only imagine the logistical nightmare would be to attack.
I think with Atlas, a lot more of it is kind of just systemic and like institutionalized. Like it's not all that bad per se.
Yeah.
But it's like all beneath the surface, whereas Mistral has like just straight up no faunist signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Atlas is like a slightly worse version of Veil as far as that goes.
I just think it's funny because it's like you think Atlas would like use like when they would try to militarize these obvious genetical like what's the term?
Yeah, what was
superiority?
What was Fat Man saying?
Fat Man probably was literally ranting the entire time.
Adam was right the entire time.
They are actually superior. Adam is actually right.
Well, here's something actually that I would kind of like to see, though, in a fight with like the White Fang or something like that, is that they take those advantages and basically turn them against the White Fang and stuff like that. Like they flash a bunch of bright lights in their faces. You know what? Or if you've ever seen Archer, you know what happens when somebody flicks the lights on when you got your night vision goggles.
That doesn't actually work like that.
Oh,
if
really?
if you've got auto gated night vision, it'll just turn off. And so if you have I think it would be interesting if like they hit a bunch of sirens, flash a bunch of lights in their faces, like throw a bunch of
take laser pointers,
get
all the cat faunists out of the way.
Or like
joke's on you. This laser pointer is attached to a gun.
Yeah, or like we saw what Dog Whistles do in RWBY, Chibi, and stuff like that. Like I think that would be an interesting thing to see them to like see all of these advantages that the White Fang has being turned to weaknesses and stuff like that. I think that would be a cool scene.
It's been too long since RWBY has had a good over the top gag fight.
So here's a fun fact about night vision. So, I think if you're using a monocular which covers one eye, your other eye is just like is gonna still have its night vision. If you pull that unit up and away from your head, basically you've destroyed your night vision in that eye for like at least 30 to 45 minutes. So you might as well just keep it on. If you're running around with goggles though, and you pull your goggles off, it's like, and at night your night vision's gone. Like your natural night vision is going to be gone for a period of time. So how night vision actually works, like from what we have of night vision, is basically the light goes into a tube, and then it bounces around inside the tube, and then it gets projected through the tube, and that's how it works. So it's pretty much it. And then so a lot of them. In Generation 2s and 3s, there's some 2s that have it. And then a lot of 3 units have. Well, if you're gonna buy a night vision unit, you need to have it to where it's auto gated. So if the night vision unit is exposed to too much light, it will burn itself out, and that's the most valuable part in the unit. So a lot of them will have they'll have little chips in them that will basically, once they detect that there's a certain threshold and it's met and exceeded, then the unit will simply turn itself off. Mm-hmm. And that's the other advantage too of like the Generation 3 units, is that Gen 1s and Gen 2 units will actually, they hold a charge, and the Gen 3s will still hold a charge, like they'll still be on after they turn off, but Gen 1s and 2s will actually remain on for a few seconds to even a minute after they go off. Also, Generation 3 night vision is cheating. I've run around and hunted stuff with Gen 3 night vision. It's a blast. It's so fun.
I'm so glad we have you on this little podcast. It's like we've got the fantasy aspect and we've got the guns part, and you're the one that knows all the guns and the fantasy. So it's like you're just like this little.
That was interesting. Yeah.
I'm a hobbyist that can't afford my hobbies. Yeah, that's what I have.
I feel like our podcasts are pretty well rounded. Like Sock, we actually made a pot shot at you in our Star Wars podcast because you don't know Star Wars, and like, yeah, he just watches all the anime stuff. He watches anime.
The Star Wars is the thing with the thing like this.
The lightsabers, yeah, that's it. That's it.
It was the beam me up stuff, right?
Shut up.
Am I close?
No. Not even. That's Star Trek.
All right, so I want to open the floor.
If you were joking just now or not.
He's joking. He knows better than that, at least.
Okay.
So I kind of want to open the floor to if anyone else has like any sort of ideas or subjects we want to talk about, because before we move on into our next subject, because I feel like I'm always the one doing the props.
I wish we knew like how much is a lot of Lien.
Yeah,
you just like there's been like it's like I've got an entire suitcase and then I've got like three Lien and then there's
16,000 Lien single card.
Are we talking like is this like yen? It feels like it's
how
yen.
The money system works.
It might actually just be yen.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I mean, that's what Zenny is in Dragon Ball. It's just yen by a different name. It runs by like the same kind of like. This is a lot of Zenny. This is not a lot of Zenny.
Zenny, berries, Rio.
Right. How do you pronounce it in Naruto? Is it like Rio?
Rio.
Is it
Rio?
Yeah, Rio.
It's like RYO. So I'm playing through the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games because I just got the Legacy Collection.
That's been giving you all sorts of trouble on your PC, apparently.
Yeah, glitches.
I would have refunded that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Well, Ultimate Ninja Storm 1 I was just kind of starting to get bored with because the story mode was just like, hey, this is just missions and stuff. Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 like disappointed me with the Kakuzu glitch. I'm hoping it kind of fixes itself next time I play. Yeah. But yeah, it was 4 games and it was like $50 for 4 games, so
which is not a bad deal.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal. That's why I got it.
But
yeah, what else is there to talk about? We already talked a little bit about Freezer Burn.
Oh man, Freezer Burn and
suffice.
Oh man,
Freezer! I love the Freezer Burn. I really love it.
I am being converted to the Freezer Burn side.
Like
as the people who are watching this video can tell by the thumbnail.
Like right there.
Yeah. Because I'm totally using the like motorcycle shot as the thumbnail for this.
I like that. I do like that shot. It's just like, excuse me, you're bothering my Freezer Burn. Do you have anything important to say?
Why is your hands in my pants? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like I didn't tell you to stop.
I didn't say stop. Yeah.
That's gonna be a fun dynamic.
And that was a sweet reunion. We get that line.
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they interact with Oscar.
Like she's like, yeah, I am. Yeah.
Or Weiss in the new John. It's just like, oh, you.
I want to see that.
I want some White Knight action too, also, because then like,
I'll accept a little White Knight.
If White Knight happens, I will actually be a little more on board for Rose Garden.
Same here. We've been saying that. Right?
Lancaster's my OTP, but it was always kind of a shot in the dark anyway. But I just think they have the best chemistry and the best like reasons to eventually go out, but that's long term. That's long term gains. I'm totally fine with some short term stuff going on.
It could be that maybe he's the one that Weiss decides to kind of bring her suspicions to Jean to and stuff like that, because he's like, okay, you have the most reason to be.
Oh my god! Like, because Jean knows and he's not happy and.
Yeah, and stuff like that, and she's kind of like, and she's like,
John would be the most receptive out of all the group to shit talk Ozpin.
And so she's like, I don't want to bring this to, Yang, Ruby and stuff like that, but I feel like I can trust you because, I know that I'm pretty sure you're not entirely on board with working with him and stuff like that, and you have a...
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a lot of dissent.
I want there to be a gag of Weiss being like, man, it sucks that the Bandit Clan took my briefcase full of money, or I lost my briefcase full of money in the plane crash. I can't even get my combat dress dry cleaned. As she's sitting there, like, running it over a washboard, muddling angry to herself.
She needs a new outfit right now. She needs to wear something different because she's been in that outfit for a while. It's been
Yeah,
dirtied.
she's gonna need a bath and a washing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh god. I
Do
can
they
just
have
see it
washing
too.
machines?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Oh my
They
god,
have
if they go into that level of fan service, I'd actually be fine. I'd actually be fine.
I'd be fine with it.
I'd be fine with it.
Weiss is just sitting there with a towel wrapped around her, is leaning up against the washing and the drying machine, just waiting for it to finish. John just walks in. It's like, oh, oops.
I don't think they will though. I don't think they'll do that, and I don't think they can do that because of the way the character models in this show work.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like they would have to. They would literally have to
she's
create a
gonna
whole
be
new
all
character
green
model
and
for
everything
Talon Weiss.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's a set.
Her hair down, like, all
I
the way
could,
back to
I could just see the scene where
Jean,
like,
that's why Jean sleeps in full body armor in Volume 4.
yeah.
oh god, that would be the worst too.
Because
Oh man, I can only
they just
imagine
couldn't
how.
even do.
I
The
can
argument on
see
that
it.
was the whole argument on that was like he's like they're sleeping in the woods with a lot of grim. They have to be combat ready at any time.
I mean, I've run around with a plate carry on for a few hours, and that thing gets gross after just a few hours of sweating on it and running. It's nasty.
I can barely wear jeans for an extended period of time.
Okay.
barely wear this ensemble.
Oh god, I can just imagine the like how the Weiss and John talk goes down, where Weiss is like just like tugs at him and it's like, hey, I need to talk to you. And Weiss is like, sweet. It's like, I knew my guitar song finally got to her. I sucked my hooks into her, and he's like, man, she's gonna like that's that'd be actually like no joke. Like if that conversation between like Weiss and John happens, and Weiss is like, oh man, it's like, oh, this is the time I could put my moves on Weiss, because I don't think John's
think it'll be like
RWBY.
that, and I think
think
the fact that it's not going to be like that is what's going to make it work.
Yeah.
It's what's gonna make it interesting that he's no longer. If he's not flirting with her endlessly and stuff like that because he's still choked up over periods.
Which will make Weiss seem a little shallow, but I always figured Weiss would be like Weiss is the one who went through the big character arc. She's kind of the reformed villain. She's the TN of the group.
Yeah.
No, she's more the Krillin, I think, because Krillin was kind of a douche when he got introduced to.
Well, yeah.
I was.
Yeah, but like she's gonna super overcompensate by being too nice to everyone.
Try to use those feminine
attributes. And I know this. I know this because I know I've said this a lot of times before. But Weiss is a lot like my sister, and my sister, like growing up, she was a pain. She was the worst. But somewhere down the line. Like when she was graduating high school and going into college and started taking all her psych classes, she realized how terrible she was to all of us and just started like she sent me like this long string of text messages about like all the time she was mean to me and like
I'm sorry,
she's so
I've been an
sorry.
asshole.
And now like every Christmas she's the only person that actually buys us like real presents, like not just stuff that you can get at Dollar Tree. Like most of my video games that I have on PS4, she bought for me for various Christmases and birthdays.
I feel my parents just buy me clothes for Christmas, and I'm like, sweet, new clothes!
Yeah, and that's kind of fresh in my mind because last night I just got the annual, what do you want for Christmas? Not what do you want, what am I getting you for Christmas?
Yeah.
I always tell my parents,
be specific.
I always tell my parents just buy me a gun, and they're like, no, we're not going to buy you a gun. But then I realized like my parents will buy me other things, so I'm like, oh, I want a sound system for my truck. It's like, okay, we'll give you some money for it. I'm like, sweet. Now I got a kick-it sound system in my truck, and I'm going deaf because of it, and it's okay. And so
like Weiss asks John out on a date and stuff like that. He's just like, okay.
Not right now. We've got other things. Like sorry, Weiss, we've got other things to worry about.
Yeah, like John is kind of.
You're turning me down? What is this? Like, it's offended?
That would be kind of hilarious. Yeah,
that would be a funny little gag moment. And then Weiss is just grabbing it by his breastplate. It's like, no, I need to talk to you. Get over here.
Like,
get in this bedroom with me right now.
That would be kind of funny. Yeah, she's all like, hey, Sean, do you want to go and get dinner sometime? He's all like, thanks, but I don't think no, John, I think we did.
We're
Like, she's
going
trying to get him alone.
we're going to dinner.
Yeah, like she's trying to get him alone to like talk about. Yeah, like she's trying to get him to alone so she can talk about Osprey and stuff like that. But she's all like, but she figures she'll treat him to dinner or two or stuff like that. She's like, no, John. He's like,
well, it's something they can
Period
totally
is
bond
not-
He just gets
over.
dragged off, and Nora
Like,
watches the
Period is something
entire
they
thing.
can
She's
totally
like, I
bond
sense a
over.
disturbance in the force.
yeah,
Because Weiss
Yeah,
is the
she's
only
like,
one who knew Pierre.
And Nora's like, "Go
weekend.
get him, champ!" And she sits
Yeah.
there and looks back to Red. It's like, I'm tearing into that tonight.
yeah,
Shoot, we need to
Oh
look
my.
room to ourselves.
yeah. Nora's just all like, oh, you know what? Yeah, go ahead. You two have fun. Yeah.
Ruby, Yang, and Crow get some quality family time. Oscar has to stay there because he has to stay in hiding and train. Ren and
Yeah.
Nora go on a date, and then
Nora and Red get-
Red and Nora are too busy having. No, it's literally like Ren, Nora, and John all stare at the same room, but John has to sleep with a blindfold on, earplugs in, and then earmuffs over it, just so he can get through the night, and it still isn't enough.
Yeah, it's all like
Play-
playing the Wind Waker theme on loop.
You can be as loud as you want for a couple hours.
It's like, could you guys do this?
Oh, you know what's actually gonna be funny, like interesting, is like like because the whole people were like the whole thing with everyone shipping Rose Garden is because Oscar and husband thing. Plus the way he looked at her is like, yeah, like he's been living on a farm. Who knows like what kind of girls he's seen? Like that's probably like the first pretty girl he's seen. Now you got Yang just walking right through the door, plus Weiss, so he's gonna be like, oh,
It's like, man,
no.
the spice of life is variety.
Variety. I am farm boy. They do call me farm boy, so I need to plant some seeds.
I do think a lot. I
I can't believe I just said that.
Are you me?
Yeah, you too much.
Oh man,
there goes our monetization.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I rub off on people, but like, I mean, oh
But
no,
you
I
bow
just
wow.
said that too. Okay, so if anyone else has any like sort of okay,
I think a lot of this is gonna end up facilitating this internal conflict with Oscar and Ozpin.
yeah, I think that's
that
the
would
other thing
legit
too.
make Oscar interesting for once.
For once.
Yeah. Like Weiss and Yang are going to be kind of apprehensive around and when they find out that Osmond's in. He's like, okay, what the hell did you do? Yeah.
It's like,
Like,
They
tell
need
us
who
the
hell
truth.
Are you?
Yeah, they need
I
the
don't
full
think Yang's
story
gonna
instead of
care
just
that
this
much.
like
I don't
vacant.
think
No,
Yang's
Yang
gonna care
doesn't
that much
care.
until
But, like,
it starts
Weiss-
interfering with until he starts dragging Ruby into it.
Yeah.
And this can be
Like,
like, no,
Ruby,
we
like-
gotta set boundaries, man.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
gonna
Ruby's the
give you the talk because my dad's not here.
just plants
sure
it
to-
on the wall, just breaks it.
She
Crow
pulls
did
a
it.
Michael Keaton to his Tom Holland.
Oh no. Okay, so
And then she's also just like, also, and then she finishes the whole conversation off with, that goes double for you, Ozpin.
Stay away
No-
from my sister, you.
no having sex with my sister until you're both married, and whenever you're 40 years old.
No having sex with my sister until he fully fades into your subconscious.
Yeah. So unless anyone else has any other ideas, I have a few scenarios in my head of how the last 8 episodes of this, because we still aren't at the halfway point, and we don't even know like how if we're when we're
Gonna
gonna do
get
the
an episode next
podcast.
week.
I think
Yeah, if we're gonna get an episode, if they're gonna do
like a Chibi or something like that, at least.
if they're gonna do a hiatus, it would make sense that they would do it during the Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
So
That and Christmas would probably actually make more sense, except for the fact that like
we got
if
a
they
Christmas
if
episode
they
last
blast
year.
if they blast through Thanksgiving and have an episode next week as well, this volume might be done in time for Christmas.
Well, we're getting like 14 episodes.
Yeah, and this is 6, so some will be
Let me
Thanksgiving,
pull
and
up the
8 will be the
calendar.
end of November.
Like, what is this
16 to
episode?
25th.
I forget. Is this episode 6 or 5?
This is 6.
6.
Okay.
Yeah, 6.
So
seven,
someone do the math because I don't
eight,
know.
So like, so
nine.
yeah, like we need one more episode, and then we're like the halfway point, which is when everything just
If they
like,
just power through without
10,
any
11,
hiatus,
12, 13.
then this volume will be done by January 13th.
Yeah, it'll be done
On
by the
January.
13th.
You're like,
Yeah,
so, yeah,
the last
past.
episode will be January 13th.
but it's a safe assumption we're going to get at a bare minimum. I assume my assumptions is that we're going to get a hiatus for Thanksgiving, and we'll probably get a hiatus for Christmas. But we didn't get it. We did get a hiatus for Christmas last year, though.
I don't remember.
I don't think we did. I want to say we got one for Thanksgiving, though.
Yeah, but it sounds like they're coming down to the wire a little more on this one, so because they only just finished writing, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. And I mean, they do it all out of order, but we'll see what that means. But yeah.
Okay, so does anyone have any other topics?
We did not get a hiatus at all throughout December last year. Like they had an episode come out on December 24th.
Of course, they also had World of Remnants, and apparently they're not doing so.
And someone got fired because of it.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's right. Our A Much Needed Talk podcast was on New Year's Day.
I remember that too, yeah. I think I was pretty blitzed that episode.
You were blitzed a lot of episodes, but you were just like...
I think I remember hearing that yeah, you were kind of wasted.
Yeah, and I was not happy.
They were drinking to make the pain go away.
So, does anyone else have any other...
If I ever drink alcohol, that would have been a time.
You're a smart man for not drinking, I can tell you that right now. You should also smoke.
I know.
Any kids who are listening to this, don't like smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol. Like, don't do it. It's not good.
And now we've become a 90s kids cartoon. Wheel of
I promise.
Turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
Do as high powered says, not as he does.
Yeah, do what I say, but not as what I do. I'm sacrificing my internal organs so you don't have to. So
he's like the nostalgia critic, but with liquor.
So does anyone else have anything to add whenever it comes to like any sort of theories and stuff? So, I guess not.
The spring is wound really tight right now. Things need to really start happening fast.
And it feels like
nothing happened that killed the momentum of this volume. And then barely anything happened in episode 3 of this volume, and that also kind of like put the eased on the brake. That was like an easing on the brakes, though.
Well, it's because they started off so strong. Episode 1
was a slam.
Episode 1 was interesting, and then episode 2 things just started like oh shank.
Well, things have been going kind of nonstop since the Ranger versus Tyrion fight. Things have been kind of going nonstop. Like even with the Much Needed Talk slamming on the brakes, there was still that thread hanging around, and that was also the same episode that where Blake slapped Sun and threw his scroll, and the chase started with Ilya. Like that was the same episode.
It went from tapping on the brakes to pulling the e-brake to try to do a cool drift, but you don't actually know how to drift, and then you wrap your car around a tree and die.
Yeah.
But then get kind of resurrected, but you're still on life support. That's this episode.
Yeah. No, you're just a vegetable for the rest of your life.
Let's hope not.
So I have a scenario real quick. So this is I think we will start rolling into predictions here. So but yes, you are very right, Media. It feels like everything needs to pick up, and since now the plot
this is a good time to have an action scene, even if it's kind of a pointless action scene. The fact that we've only gotten 2 action scenes this volume so far kind of on one hand impresses me, on the other hand concerns me.
I will bet money. Let me just a second. Where's my wallet at? Okay, let me just grab this real quick. I've got a $5 bill here. I will bet $5 that the attack on Blake's family attacks.
Like that's actually my prediction is that next episode we're gonna get Blake versus Ilya.
Blake versus Ilya. Either Blake versus Ilya or the Blake household nighttime burglary raid, whatever you want to call it. So here's
Ilya and Sun and Callie versus White Fang Mooks. And Callie mostly Callie kicking all the ass.
I want Gira not to have a weapon, and then he just like goes full what's his name? What's Wolverine's brother again? What's his name?
Sabretooth.
Yeah, Sabretooth. He just like his just nails get longer, and he just like you just see him in the corner. He's just mauling someone So
Yeah.
this is what I can. So this is would be. I feel this is a end game scenario, and I think I kind of joked with you all about this before the podcast. So let's make assumptions here. So let's assume that during episode somewhere between episode 7 and 14, the Silver Eye's power gets brought up, which it kind of almost has to at this point, because it's been like it's on the table.
It's running out of time.
Yeah, it's on the table.
It's not quite at Jean Semblance level. It's nowhere near Jean Semblance level,
but it's getting there.
Yeah.
So if they don't do it this volume, it might start getting there. I mean, Jean Semblance should have been in volume 3.
Yeah.
So let's
Summer Rose's death at Summer Rose's death now.
Because if they talk about
my opinion, that was just this was just strike one for Summer. Like, this was really the first time I felt like they should have had that discussion.
So as I go to balcony post,
but anyway, sorry.
So assuming that we get, assuming between 7 and 14 we get some sort of talk about if the Silver Eyes get brought up, then obviously they're gonna have to talk about Summer Rose. If they don't, then it's just, I'm not gonna, we've beaten the dead horse of Miles and Carrie plenty of times on this podcast. So
I warmed up on this episode in between. Like, I thought it was okay the first time, but I really warmed up to it the second time, and I think having cornering Ozpin and having him be the one that says, I got Summer Rose killed, would be way more powerful than if Raven hey, Ozpin got Summer Rose killed.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I feel that if Ozpin has to say that,
too.
Yeah. So here's the. So let's just say that this. So we know from the information that we got in this, it was the second or first episode, that the Silver Eye powers is obviously very dangerous to them. So let's assume that this scenario happens. So somewhere between 7 and 14. We get a scene where Cinder and company shows up to try to negotiate with the Bandit Clan. Obviously, negotiations don't go well. Team Ranger and company, along with everyone else, then shows up, and whoever else they're able to find to come out and help them come in and show up. As they show up, Cinder and company then show up, maybe with Hazel and Totu also. Maybe even Tyrion shows back up too also.
Would the White Fang be with them, or with Hazel?
I would assume the White Fang would not. The White Fang probably isn't in the deal. But so assuming Cinder and company shows up along with a few extra bad guys, so probably maybe Hazel, and I'd say even potentially more Tyrion might show up again. So they attack the Bandit Clan. Team Ranger and everyone else is there. Team Ranger and Team Orange is there. And so what happens is that RWBY sees Cinder and then goes to start fighting Cinder. Fight is pretty evenly matched, but RWBY's not doing so well. It's kind of 55% in Cinder's favor. So then RWBY uses her Silver Eye powers. And so assuming that, let's just say that being near a Silver-Eyed Warrior with her powers activated is just hazardous for... This is an extremely absurd what-if scenario, and it's more for my comedic purposes. So whenever RWBY activates her Silver Eye's power, Raven immediately recognizes it because she's Summer's kid, and she could probably reasonably assume that maybe that trait got passed down.
Mm-hmm.
She sees that.
Raven definitely knows.
And so she sees that, and she immediately creates a portal. So let's think of all the people she has portals to. So she probably has a portal to... Crow's going to be there. Yang's going to be there. She probably has a portal for Vanal. Who's the only person that that Raven could quickly evacuate the Spring Maiden to that's very, very far away?
Tai.
Just imagine the look on Ty's face. It was oh, sweet, the portal's here. I'm about to get some sick action. And then, Raven just throws Vernal through the freaking...
hey, I'm Vernal. I'm kind of your wife's, your ex-wife's new wife.
Yeah, and then Ty's just like, you might as well
Ty's
just get
like,
in bed. Ty's like, you might
nice.
as well get in bed because women just get pregnant around me. Now, what I feel what will actually happen.
No, Ty
this
just
might- this-
seriously just says nice.
Nice.
so this is what I feel will actually happen though. In all seriousness, so the Bandit Clan,
He's just like even better. No,
The
go ahead, sorry.
the Bandit Clan gets attacked as they're getting ready to go to, as Team Orange and Ranger are getting ready to go out and make the trek to the Bandit Clan. So the attack doesn't go well the Bandit Clans aren't able to defend. A portal then opens up in the little house that they're at. Vernal comes through. Okay, assuming if Vernal survived, Vernal comes through, and then Raven makes it through. And as soon as Raven makes it through and the portal's about to close, an arrow just flies through the portal and hits Raven. That's honestly what I feel what's going to happen.
But not like a mortal wound. More like, oh crap, you got to take care of me now.
Who knows? Like, let's just say, like, oh, she's trying to, incinerate Raven from the inside out, like she did Hera, but like, oh,
Yeah,
too far away, so the powers don't work. So, like, that's honestly what I feel. What'll happen is that if if Bandit Clan gets attacked before Team Ranger and Orange and makes it to it, it seems perfectly reasonable that Raven would try to escape with the Vernal, just whoever they can get away the furthest. And I could honestly see, like, as Raven's getting through the portal, like, she gets hit in the back with an arrow. Like, that's honestly what I see.
Something I could actually possibly see happening is, sorry, that like Team Ranger and Wise Yang and Crow and them, they all possibly they all go to like go to the Bandit Clan, and then the Bandit Clan is like, runs into Cinder and crew, and then things go down, and then and during that time, Blake has. I'm assuming that Blake is going to be captured and basically dragged back to Mistral. And something I can see happening is that, like, she escapes, she, runs to this Bandit Clan to, try and find somebody to help her with the White Fang. Like, she knows that Lionheart can't be trusted. And, like, she runs over there, runs into the Bandit Camp and say, to basically say, there's an attack going on right now, and it's one of those things that, like, basically like the attack on Haven happens while they're dealing with Cinder and company at the Bandit Clan and stuff like that, kind of a war on two fronts type of thing. And it's like, and it becomes one of those like horrifying moments for Ruby where she realizes, people died while I was trying to do something else, or I don't know.
Like with the whole Blake thing, like we know, like come on, it's a rodent faunus. Wait, no, that's stereotyping. Damn it. The whole named rodent faunus. Like we know, like they named him. Come on, like he has to be on this whole sneak attack on Belladonna.
Oh, the Bad Faunus guy, the guy voiced by Lanny.
No, not Yuma. Like the guy was like Saber Rodentia.
The security guard, Gira security guard.
Yeah, I was like after her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he actually has a name, like a
Oh.
full name.
Okay, that guy. You think he's in on it?
Yeah, I think he's in on it.
Huh. Maybe they make it a straight up assassination and stuff like that. He doesn't even
Trusted guards.
That would be surprisingly smart on Miles and Carrie's part. But yeah,
It would make sense to me.
good point.
So here's, I think this is
Yeah,
this
but
is what I would.
Ass kicked by Callie or something.
Yeah. What?
This is
Here's just like I'm the big one, but I just do politics and
all right.
this is
So
why I do
let's
peaceful
I
rallies.
think that would be hilarious.
let's get a little round table here on. So I'll let Media, you can go first. So
Yeah.
how would you want? What would happen during the? How would the assassination of Blake's family son go, in your opinion? And then what would happen to Blake? So we're just kind of going to go on a round table on that. So
Yeah.
Honestly,
how would you do it, Media? You're the writer.
There's a fine balance between making your audience mad and making them mad for the right reasons.
Make them mad for the right reasons, then.
And there's also marketability. Callie must live.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be like killing Crow right now.
Yeah. Because she's the only person. Like, Sun's made Blake more sufferable, but Callie has made that plot line more sufferable. Sun hasn't done that. Sun has only like reduced, has only served as a cushion, a cushion to my hatred of Blake's entire character.
And Callie's a mattress.
Yeah.
A big comfy mattress that you just want to lie with. I mean, on.
Wonderful.
So here's how I think
There's a difference.
I think we're gonna get Blake versus Ilya, and that's gonna cause a chase.
Oh no.
I don't know if Sun should follow her or not.
It's Sun. He's gonna follow her. A little lost.
Yeah, the question isn't whether or not he's gonna follow her. The question or not is whether he even knows it's going on.
Oh, true. Like, or like he finds out after.
Like he thinks she's having another secret meeting and stuff.
I think Ilya might.
No, I can see like the whole chase scene happening.
I wouldn't do this, but Rooster Teeth probably would. Ilya actually tips Blake off, like, go with me, but Sun, stay behind. Get Callie and Gira out of here. And then I think Gira's gonna do like kind of last man standing, like, you expect one of us to die in the wreckage? And he's gonna like become a martyr. Like, he's gonna like die, but make sure that Callie and Sun live to tell everyone that the White Fang are the ones who assassinated him. And then from there, it's gonna cause a big civil war within the White Fang, and that's gonna carry over into like the Mistral stuff.
Yeah, but a complication that could happen, like, is like if, like, you know, even if Ilya like tips off Blake, like, I can see like them like doing that whole chase scene, and then like but Sun like notices like shortly after that Blake's gone, and like in the direction that she went in, and so like Ilya's like the whole like there's this conversation conflict between Blake and Ilya, but like they settle it down to like more of a peaceful like kind of thing, and then Sun just kind of jumps her because, you know, he still has an issue with her. He wasn't listening at all. He just kind of
Blake
walks in.
Blake keys Sun into this, and it's like, I need you to get my family out of here. I can handle this. And then they kiss.
Oh no!
And that's like how she convinces Sun to stay or leave with the family.
Maybe.
Oh god, I actually would. That would be pretty good if that actually happens. Okay, so here's. If Media, are you done, or?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, so this is how I see it. This is how I see it playing out. So I feel that Ilya is going to warn Blake, and the attack on they're going to be like semi-prepared for the assassination attempt. However, I feel that if Blake gets captured, that would actually, because then that would force Sun and Callie and Gira, like, that would give them reasons like, we were attacked last night and my daughter was kidnapped, and all the libertarians like, yeah, your non-aggression principle was violated, so now we're gonna go violate their non-aggression principle because of it. And so then they get their, you know, their volunteer army, and then they're gonna head off to Mistral while Blake's being shipped off in a very small and restrictive kitty container to Mistral. And then this also gives the opportunity for Ilya to redeem herself, because she's like, I made sure to warn you guys. It's like, I'm sorry that she got captured. It's like, I'm going to try to make this right. So I actually, there's a small part of me, and I know the fandom's going to blow up if this actually happens. There's a part of me that actually wants Blake to get captured. Like, Gira and Callie and Sun survive, but then Blake is captured in the process because she's alone. Because the way that I would think about it, because Finnick and Corsac seem to be the people who plan for like any sort of eventualities, so they probably have someone watching Ilya too also.
Yeah.
and they're probably sitting there. It's like, it's like obviously she's been faithful to us now, but like she's actually like she actually has to kill someone that she's going to have to act against someone that she was friends with.
Yeah, because they know that Ilya and Blake have a close bond.
Because they don't seem like the type of people who would be like, yeah, we're just going to let you do what you're going to do. Like, they feel like they're going to have some sort of insurance floating around.
Yeah.
So I can see...
Probably Yuma. That
Yuma
honest.
Flying around.
So I can honestly see, like, Ilya warns Blake, and then... for some reason, they get separated. Because if Ilya warns Blake and then the Fox brothers catch them warning Blake, this gives up the scenario to also like, okay, well, now the Fox brothers have to get rid of Ilya because she can't be trusted. And so that means that then Ilya would then have to survive any potential attempts on her life. Along with, it's like, how are they going to, like, capture Blake?
That's why it's in Ilya's best interest to make it convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all there's the other possibility is like, which seems a little bit too absurd, like, oh, we survived the attack and now we have the Fox brothers arrested and we'll just pretend that Ilya's going back to Adam with Blake. It's like, yeah, she's captured. It's like, ha ha ha, Blake was the Trojan horse the entire time, you fool. Because that would actually be kind of good, like, because they use, like, Adam's eagerness to get at Blake to like blind his like decision making and stuff. That would actually be good. I would like that quite a bit.
Yeah. So
I'm done. Sucks turn.
I don't have anything for that, honestly.
Yeah. So my turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I actually think that. I do think that perhaps there might be a redemption for Ilya down the road, but I don't think it's going to be here. I think she's going to Blake away during the I think she's gonna lure Blake away for the attack from the White Fang. If that Saber guy does end up being a traitor, maybe he like tries to stab Gira in the back in his office. Maybe he succeeds. Maybe mortally wounds him and is then killed himself and stuff like that. I do think that Gira would probably try to have to do like a last stand and stuff like that while Callie and Sun escape, and then. But I do think that like Ilya would lure Blake away and then basically duke it out with her. Maybe like she hesitates before bringing the trap fully, and then Yuma drops in and springs it for her and stuff like that. But I do think that she would. But I do think it is going to end with Blake getting captured and taken to Mistral, and possibly on the way there, that's where Ilya finally changes and Blake has that moment, and like, or possibly like. And like that could possibly be like that moment with, like possibly on the way there, Ilya doesn't know that Callie and Sun are alive, and she's all like there, and she basically tells Blake your family's dead, your boyfriend's dead, and stuff like that, and Blake has that just heartbroken moment where she she basically gives up on Ilya and stuff like that, and that's like. I don't know, kind of what makes Ilya realize, I just lost my best friend and stuff like that forever, or the person who was my best friend forever, and that's where she, then she later finds out that Gira or that Kali and Sun are alive, and she helps them spring her and stuff like that, and she's like, I'm sorry I can't bring your father back, but at least let me make this right, and. So that's something I could see occurring, but I do think if either Belladonna, it's going to be Gira. So because they're not going to kill Callie.
And if they do,
is Gira's voice actor expensive?
Probably.
He's a father from
Full
Metal Alchemist.
From Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
And Callie's pretty expensive too. It's Terra Platt.
That's true.
One of my personal favorites.
So letting one of them go is probably in the cards because both of them are probably pretty expensive. So
If Callie dies, we riot. I don't
I
care.
gotta take a look real quick.
If Callie dies, Fat Man Falling will stop watching RWBY. He has said that.
Oh, he probably jinxed himself.
Probably. Like the thing is, like he doesn't enjoy the show. He watches it to hate it. Just
Oh no,
pick it
he
apart.
enjoys it. He does thoroughly enjoy it.
All right, I feel
but like
It's hard to tell that sometimes. It's honestly, like I watch his videos and it's honestly hard to tell sometimes.
let's get some general predictions out of the way. That I think we can wrap it up. Does that sound good?
Didn't we already do that?
Pretty much. Unless anyone else has anything to...
Yeah, I've got no other predictions. Nothing that I haven't already said before.
Yeah,
we'll wait for Robert to get back, and then we'll see if he has.
Yeah, because like I think next episode we're gonna start like it's gonna like pick up again, like just to might give us. Hopefully,
has to. I mean the plot points. It's basically they have one of three options to write an episode now: bad guys, Lake, or
Ranger.
Team Orange. Yeah, Team Ranger. So that's really their option now. So it's like we do one of the three. And then technically, bad guys can be broken up into three parts.
Because you've got the Lionheart stuff too. Because like Lionheart, then you've got like
White Fang, and then Cinder.
Yeah. So there's still multiple plot points, but like this was like but the next episode is the halfway point, and they have to like start building up like what's going to happen. They need to like add a little bit more stuff because there's not much else we can get from. Because like this episode was pretty good, we got a good discussion out of it. But like the mere fact is, like it was like as media said, it's a pretty concise episode. We can take what we got from it and add on to it and talk about it. But at the same time, it's just like kind of need a little bit more because at this point we're still just talking about the same like kind of plot point that we envisioned from like, episode 2. We've got little sprinkles on top, but we're still trying to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Robert.
Oh, there he is.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
All right, so before we're gonna start winding this down, do you have any general predictions you want to make? Say your piece and everything.
Anything else you have to add?
I don't know. I think I've pretty much said everything.
All tapped out.
Possibly, like I don't know. If Gira did send like the huntsman out of the city for their protection, possibly like during the battle.
Does you mean Lionheart?
Sorry?
Lionheart. You said Gira.
Sorry, Lionheart. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay, high powered.
Okay. They're both cat names.
But yeah, so if Lionheart did send the huntsman out of the city for their protection, possibly they might like come back during the Battle of Haven and stuff like that to kind of lessen the damage, but I don't know. So who knows?
When Heather Shield comes back and like hot MILF, and I'm like, baby.
Oh yeah, and yeah, maybe that's where Watt is. Like, I thought I told you to take care of them. He was all, I got them out of the city. And stuff like that. You know.
Your master controls the Grib. I mean, they're fighting Grib.
Yeah, he's like, I got them out of the city. Apparently, you couldn't. And then he just gets straight up stabbed. But yeah,
I set you up for the 3-pointer, but you weren't able to actually get the 3-pointer.
I gave you the assist. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I don't know what else might happen. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully next episode like gives us what we need.
Yeah.
So ready to wrap it up?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
So, yep.
Alright, so if you liked this video and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe for podcasts and reviews every week and the occasional stream. I do want to do a Naruto stream sometime this month for like Narutovember. And I also want to do something Zelda related.
You need to buy one.
Even if it's just a slap together like top 10 video.
You need to buy one of those headbands.
And then I also got RWBY Beyond, which is my fanfiction series for RWBY. Guardians of Terra, which is my original work. Roads, which you can find on FicFun. And yeah, support the Facebook page, RWBY Beyond, and my Patreon.
All right, I'm high powered. I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. Do feel free to join the Discord if you want to. We keep all the spoilery stuff if you're not a first member in its own containment zone in a text channel, but if you're in the voice channel, it's
Free game.
It's free game. So that's mainly because most of the people here are first members. And I just look forward to the next episode. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a hiatus for Thanksgiving, though, but who actually knows? The next podcast is kind of up in the air. We're just going to, might not be here, dude, so we're just going to play it by ear. So it might be a little late.
Yep.
So just fair warning.
And yeah, this episode was better than last week. Definitely better than last week. It was an okay episode. Yeah, I hope that whenever the next episode comes out, that pick up. I am Robert.
All right. Sock Tyro Gar, people.
Yep. Have a good day.